Good to see you, everyone. My name is Robbie Howell, and once again, it is time for another fine recorded actual play of Enclave. This one is a thank you to the conduits from the last Enclave day from like 2 centuries ago. I think by the time this is actually published, it'll have been over 2 months. And yet, life moves on. So, thank you guys so much for conduiting during the last Enclave day. Let's do our intros. I suppose we'll go, the way you appear on screen for me is Kadrien, Connor, Reece. So, do your intros and we'll go back through and you can introduce your characters.
I'm Kadrien. I've been playing Enclave for just over 3 months now. Found it at a con, got stopped by Robbie and Lee. Very grateful that happened.
Marvelous. And next.
Connor. I started about February with, similar situation. Different con, but...
Actually, the same one. You were both Captain Con.
Was it?
You were
Oh!
It just took 2 weeks for Robbie to convince me to play.
Oh.
And lastly.
Nice.
And I'm Reece. I've been playing since just after the Kickstarter ended in 2023. And I have been on many of these things before, I think, by this point.
Mm-hmm. And your characters in that same order. It's going to be quite the level spread on this one.
Yeah, Nemi is level 9. Only after this 4 missions to go to 10. She's 6'3". She's a Thane. Has a bunch of gear. It's been around for a long while. Yeah.
Marvelous. And next.
Yeah, I'm going to be playing Kaeranis, a Thane, as well. He is a little bit shorter than Nemi, surprisingly, at 6'2". And he also has a crew with him. His, chestnut-colored courser, Phoenix, his 10-pound orange tabby cat, Rivnus, and Evis is next.
Awesome.
He's a dude. Yeah.
Yeah, the Connect is going to be a new one for me. So you're going to have to walk me through a little bit. Plus, do a little bit of it yourself as well. And lastly,
yeah, makes sense.
The only character I have yet to see from this group.
Yeah, my character is Griselda Lloyd, a Greebeard. She's level 3. And she doesn't really take anything seriously. She is accompanied by an annoying little fairy that follows her everywhere and can speak only 2 words in Metro, which are
"Hey, listen!"
Yes, I'm using a soundboard just so I can do that.
Reece.
I love it.
That surprised me completely. Oh, dear. All right.
Fantastic.
Because of this, the focus words that I got, we can move on to, were 1, long-awaited, 2, cold-blooded, and 3, winged orb. With these focus words, here is what I put together for this particular group. You are being sent to a land called Gwendrel. Gwendrel, I will put this in chat, is a land that is governed by the moon. The moon of Gwendrel, which is perpetually full and perpetually in the sky, is an incredibly powerful force in this land. It's like a very, very large valley. It's incredibly fertile. It's home to tens of millions of people in this vast valley. Dotted with mountains and rivers and beautiful forests. It's a lovely place. However, the multitudinous masses of humans who live in Gwendrel, I would say roughly Bronze Age technology, but vastly amplified by magic, are ruled by a group of moon-based dragons who are called Gwender. And the Gwender come in different colors and are inexorably tied to the moon. The humans of Gwendrel worship the Gwender, and the Gwender families, as they vie with each other, whoever takes a section of land, the humans change their loyalty to that new family. The Gwender protect the humans worship the Gwender. I should also note, in chat, Dippy has actually been to this area before. And we will be directly following a plot line that he helped initiate here. Now,
Nice.
Try not to screw it up. There.
the reason for it is in this place, Gwendrel, the worship of the Gwender has been a thing for an incredibly long time. But something happened maybe a few decades ago that, and amidst the wars of the Gwender families, that was kind of unnoticed at first, but became very substantial. Reason being is a human, a young boy named Dermot, through bizarre means that I will get to after the mission if it comes up, but is not relevant to this direct mission, ascended to be part Gwender. He was not a full Gwender, and he was not aligned with a family, which is very unprecedented. And in this state, a kind of cult of worship formed around him as his own like little miniature pocket at one of the moon shrines that dot Gwendrel. In his part Gwender state, he took the name Dramarai. Though, on this relatively recent mission that Dippy happened to be on, Dermot was freed of his part Gwender state. He had sunken into a deep existential depression, hating what he had become, hating being worshipped. And an Enclave squad helped release him of this burden that had weighed upon him for decades. He has since this happened, like a year or two ago at this point, he has wandered Gwendrel with a small team of devotees who are just like, we are not letting this kid out of our sights. Because even though he'd been in this state for a couple decades and he is wise beyond his years, he is biologically like 11. And so they've been trying to escort him through Gwendrel. However, Dramarai, when he was Dramarai, was considered at first a minor nuisance to the families, but then they started taking him very seriously. He was a challenge to the Gwender order. And now that he has lost his Gwender form, and he is a human again, albeit a very wise one who understands things no human is supposed to understand, it seems as though at least one Gwender family wants him gone. You are being sent to a secluded, forested, like mountainside in the hinterlands of Gwendrel, where Dermot, he will not accept the name Dramarai anymore. He is Dermot. And his small contingent of devotees have been all but cornered by a group of pursuers. It is a group of humans in the employ of the Red family. The Gwender families are all colored. They are led by a singular Gwender. And besides the rank and file, they also have among them a small handful of fanatics called Hle Luen. The Hle Luen are noteworthy in that, unlike other humans, they do not change alignments when one Gwender family takes them over or not. They are fanatically loyal to a single family. And as such, can absolutely not be reasoned with. You have a better chance of reasoning with the Gwender than reasoning with the Hle Luen. Now, the Dermot and his followers, who you can call Dramarites, are hopelessly outnumbered. They're outnumbered like over 10 to 1, plus there's a Gwender. They're turbo screwed. The Enclave does not think you can defeat the Gwender. All you have to do is get it to back down. And probably you will have to wipe out the Hle Luen to do so, because they aren't backing down. The one Gwender, one of the Red family, is known. His name is Toreth Taurun. He is the youngest mature member of the Red family, still unbelievably powerful and wise, but this is like his first test that the Red family has sent him on. His first thing that he is doing himself is to get rid of this nuisance that could be a problem in future. In terms of their powers, Gwender are wildly magical powerful. They have two forms. They can enter a humanoid form in which they can speak, and they tend to and tends to be less taxing for them. They're still very large, but they don't like to brawl. Instead, they can also enter a draconic form, which is very large. They can fly at immense speed and fire moonbeams from their mouth that can vaporize men on contact. Be incredibly wary of them in their dragon form. And hope that he doesn't lead the charge. It seems unlikely. Gwender don't like getting their hands dirty. They prefer leaving humans to do the work so that they can fight other Gwender.
Still hierarchical.
Let's see. Anything else? I think that's all the... Oh, just one last thing. I mentioned that there are human rank and file. The majority of this force is, with just like a small troop of Hlei Luen. Dermot's name and rank as like a prophet or like a semi-Gwender does still hold some clout, even among these rank and file loyal to the Red family. Even though they are loyal to the Gwender they are serving, and even though they will still adhere to direct orders, you do not have to worry about them being as unbendingly fanatical as the Hlei Luen. Not even close. In fact, if left to their own devices, they would never try to harm Dermot. Even if he is no longer a Gwender, having once been part Gwender, so to speak, definitely still leaves an impact on the humans of this area. A final note, if you hear the word Hlen, H-L-E-N, that is the local word for human, as opposed to Gwender. Hlen, Gwender. Questions?
Time of day and weather.
Excellent question. The weather is clear. It almost always is clear in Gwendrell. Even during even rain in Gwendrell is usually in the form of like heavy sun showers. Reason being is the moon is always visible. Time of day in this case is like getting on towards evening. Other questions?
If we can, like, since these humans are reluctant to harm Dermot, then provided we get rid of the fanatic ones, if we're all busy dealing with the dragon, will the other humans still try and kill him? Like, does somebody need to stay behind to babysit, or...?
If given a direct order by their leading Gwender, yes. Even if they don't want to, they will not disobey a direct order.
Okay.
Other questions?
Yeah.
The small group of devotees of Dermot, how many is in that number?
Excellent question as well. They number about a dozen and have been traveling with him for years. Well, not years, like almost 2 years.
Okay, and how about the enemy humans, in particular the Hlei Luen ones?
Yeah. The enemy host numbers almost 100, of which about a dozen are Hlei Luen.
Okay.
They are armed. They're ready to rumble. They're ready to go. And again, think roughly Bronze Age technology. Heavily augmented by magic, but for like rank and file foot soldiers, they're not going to have anything magical. Hlei Luen might.
Okay.
Most of the magic in this area is used to improve quality of life rather than used for war, because when you have gigantic moon dragons doing most of the fighting, that tends to make life easier.
Yeah.
What kind of magics could we expect from the Hlei Luen?
Yep. The Hlei Luen magics are fairly limited and will mostly come in the form of stealth. But even then, you might find some things where they could maybe bless a weapon or something to be, or bless their armor. They are almost like they can bathe in the resplendence of the Gwender and the moon to get a little bit of power from it. In terms of the Gwender, fortunately this is a young one, so you're not going to have to deal with the enormous arsenal of spells that they typically do. Gwender in general have great mastery over humans. That may extend to you. If he issues you a direct command, you're going to have to fight to not obey it. They have mental communication, though they typically don't like to converse back and forth with humans mentally because it will drain the humans very quickly. And they can also unleash the moon's magic, not only to defend themselves, but also to irradiate those around them with great force. Of note also, each of the Gwender families has different specialties. The Red family are masters of healing. He will likely be able to resurrect just about any human who dies.
Mm. You may have already said it, but how heavily armored are the Hlei Luen?
The Hlei Luen will likely be much more heavily armed and armored than the rest of the rank and file. Rest of the rank and file, you can picture maybe like a brig or something, plus mostly like a big shield and a spear, maybe a few ranged units.
Okay.
But they're traveling light. They've been having to troop through the hinterlands trying to track down Dermot, and as such, they're not here like ready for a pitched battle. It's like, you know, they're flushing out this band of outlaws functionally.
Okay.
And Dermot's followers, unarmed, like completely. They are helpless.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Kadrien, you had a thing?
Yeah, that moonbeam seems like the biggest direct danger. Is that like just an at will? Yeah. Is that like an at will thing that they can just do whenever they want? Does it drain them substantially to do it, especially because he's young?
It's not a problem for them. You'll see a charge up for sure, but the main thing is they usually reserve those magics for other Gwender. The Gwender don't like hurting humans and are reluctant to do so because humans fighting is human work. Gwender fighting Gwender is Gwender work. So he's mostly there to oversee it and to step in case it goes horribly wrong. Which hopefully it will.
I mean, that's the hope.
Yep.
Final questions.
Not a question, but it's an absolute shame we don't have a Drakentoter on this mission.
Well, if you did, then you would try to kill it. And the Enclave literally is saying, like, unless you find a marvelously perfect opportunity, do not try to kill the Gwender. That's bad. If nothing else, because it would actually endanger Dermot further, because, you know, losing a member of their family would make the Red be like, oh, you are turbo dead now. Like,
yeah, okay,
all in on him. Yeah.
I expect that I know the answer to this, but are these dragons particularly good at defiance?
Yes.
Yeah, I had a feeling they would be.
They have very powerful wills.
Yeah.
And so if you get an effect onto them, expect that effect to last seconds.
Yeah.
Excellent question.
I got one.
Yeah, final
Dermot's devotees. They are unarmed,
completely
but are
unarmed.
they unskilled in battle?
Largely, yes. These were villagers, you know, normal folk who put aside their lives to like devote themselves to this strange being who's midway between human and Gwender. And even after he renounced everything, they are still loyal to him, and he's tried to shake them, and that's not working. So he's like, all right, fine. Like, I guess you can help me not get killed by wild animals or something. So
Fair enough.
In that case, let us proceed to assembly. Led through Enclave HQ, each by a faceless attendant, you are brought together into one of its plush, gray assembly chambers with quite a few animals and Misk in tow. Everyone on this mission has at least one companion. As we come together into the assembly room, physical description and first actions, we will begin with Nemi. What does she look like? What's the first thing she does upon entering, plus her companion?
Which I forgot to mention. She's walking through the halls. There is a very large, pure black horse with red eyes, shadow silk, behind her. Just following her in. She's 6'3", short blonde hair, has a sword belt with her 2 bastard swords, plus a myriad of other pouches and pockets and holsters. Shield on her back, She walks in, looks, she's the first one there, and just nods and goes and sits.
And next, Kaeranis. Physical description for him and his companions, as well as first actions as they, the posse, enter.
Nice. So Kaeranis is going to be the first one to walk in with the posse, and he is about 6'2". He is pretty stocky in build. He has, quite a bit of stubble here, a massive burn on the, I think it was the left side of his face, actually, from a previous mission. Scars all over. A previous Robbie mission. And he is now got a large blue hooded surcoat over his full plate armor with a gold emblem of a lion on it. And that's about all the interesting for him. Coming in behind him is Evis, his connect, he's fairly tall himself. He's about 5'11". He's got just some moderate arming sword at his side, longer blonde hair, green eyes, and a heavy scowl. He does not look impressed to be here. He is holding the reins of Phoenix, leading him in. Phoenix is a large Andalusian courser, chestnut colored. And on his back is my sovereign lion, who's skinned down to a 10-pound orange tabby cat named Revnus. And as soon as they all come into the room, Phoenix bursts from the reins, bursts the reins from Evis's hands, I should say, and races over to Shadow Silk, wants to sniff. Yeah. And Revnus is like knocked off and then scurries to the side. Kaeranis himself is going to walk over to the table, sit down, grab an ale, and then notice Nemi and go, oh, Nemi, this is going to be a good mission. And he reaches out a hand for a shake, the warrior handshake.
Yep, and she takes it, sits back, and goes, I'm actually grateful for another Thane, and we worked well together last time. Good. This going to
be good.
And finally, our last character, physical description and first actions.
Yeah, so Griselda is a 23-year-old woman. She's 5'2", although her height is bolstered by a very tall witch's hat which she wears. She also has a dark grey cloak, a lighter grey dress, and a blouse under that with baggy sleeves, as well as dark brown leather boots. She carries a black staff with pink markings on it, and she wears a fake beard, which is grey and bushy. She is also in her free hand currently carrying a pipe, wooden smoking utensil, not the type that's used for plumbing. And over one of her shoulders is a little pink fairy floating around, which basically looks like Navi from Legend of Zelda, but it's pink. Mm-hmm. And as I walk into the room and see the other two, the first thing I do is bang the butt of my staff on the floor, and immediately thereafter, my little fairy says,
"Hey, listen!"
And after a moment's pause, I just say, "What up?" And then I blow on my pipe and bubbles come out.
Hello.
Yo.
This will get a bit of a chuckle out of this. Good to meet you.
Nemi would stand and offer a hand.
I will stick my pipe into a pocket and shake hands, and I say, Griselda.
Nemi.
And then glance over at the other person in the room.
Yeah, he's going to wave up a hand because he's now sitting at the table, but he's Nice to meet you. I'm Kaeranis.
Kaeranis' Knecht would not make eye contact and just kind of like shrug to the side.
I give him finger guns.
I feel like Evis would just scowl
Yeah.
even more heavily at that. Yeah.
Yep.
And with
To which he gets kind of a warning look from Nemi, like, no, we're not playing this game again.
And with the squad now assembled, who would take the reins of the conversation from here? Nemi arbitrarily.
So, you look like a wizard.
Yeah. I can turn people into toads. Very powerful magic. Probably doesn't work on dragons.
That's a pity.
Yeah, I know, right? First thing I asked the Enclave attendant when they were all like, hey, got any questions about this mission? Do dragons turn into toads? Apparently not.
Shame.
And that is a shame, because that would make things a lot easier. It's easier to step on a toad than a dragon.
That was my thinking, exactly.
No, it was a good thought. It's a pity it's not going to work out that way.
So I have a feeling that this is Kaeranis talking. I have a feeling that, given that they don't want us to attack this dragon, and given the strength of these enemies, it probably would make sense to have at least one of us on defensive, guarding the boy.
Oh, he's
I
outnumbered
don't mind taking that role.
a lot. That might be a
Well,
good idea.
if you're volunteering for babysitting duty, then it's all yours.
This would be a good learning point. This is not out of character, but this would be a good learning point for Kaeranis in raising up Evis as his squire.
Nice.
This is
And then he
true.
looks over. I've had some thoughts on how to help set up a proper defense for them. So, I mean, I guess we look. Every time I've ever made a plan here in this room or any room like it, it just doesn't work. So,
yeah.
And as Nemi is saying this, the Enclave attendant in the room turns on a heel and strides through an open door, and the telepads in the far wall spring to life. I should note, there are quite a few telepads on this one, or rather, they are much bigger than usual. Final actions before taking your places on the telepads and porting out, beginning with Griselda.
Well, let's just see how this goes, I guess. Can't be that hard. And then I will just walk on over to the telepod and stand on it while stroking my beard wisely.
And Kaeranis.
Kaeranis himself, he's going to finish his ale. He's going to do a little get Revnus to come back and follow him.
Yep.
And gesture to Phanex, have him come by. And he's not even really going to look at Evis. He's just going to wave him on very uncaringly.
Yeah.
And not even turn back. He's just going to go straight to that telepad from here.
You hear a as he slumps up from the chair he was leaning against and falls into a reluctant line behind you. And Nemi, final actions.
I think Nemi kind of looks at the steins of ale on the table, hangs her head a bit, and just mounts Shadow Silk and brings him right over to the telepad.
And as you all take your places atop the telepads, you feel the familiar, unfamiliar sensation of dissociation creeping up through your feet, tingling up your legs, leaving them asleep in its wake, passing your stomach, and your guts churn, passing your chest, and your heart flutters, and you no longer feel its beat, and then passing your eyes. The world explodes into ribbons of color. You hear a buzzing in your ears, and everything falls away, and there is nothing. But then the sensation leaves as swiftly as it arrives, and you find yourself on the sweeping side of a beautiful mountain. It is green, green like an emerald green, with wildflowers growing and big natural like meadow clearings open, kind of like when you might what you might see on like a ski slope, and yet this forms naturally on some of the surrounding mountains, which create this like beautiful natural kind of like snaking sub valley nearby. This is obviously not all of Gwendrel, just a piece of it, but more notably, several of the mountainsides have gorgeous, enormous chalk depictions, like you know the ones that you can see in some historical sites in England. These huge chalk drawings that take up an entire mountainside, all of which depict dragons and the moon. Though of note, just looking at them, the dragons here are remarkably different. They are elegant and slender, with kind of a hooked face shape that looks, how to describe it? It looks like a crescent moon in its shape, almost like a hummingbird sort of face, rather than a dragon like we might understand. Even though it's not, doesn't necessarily look to be a beak either. But they're quite beautiful and slender, assuming the chalk depiction is at all accurate. And all around you, amidst this meadow, you can see the evidence of a camp that's clearly been here for several days. You hear panicked shouts between as people are trying to like grab up supplies and turn, and you can also hear people yelling from a far side of the camp looking uphill. And sure enough, both uphill and downhill, you can see banners flying. Red banners. And soldiers arrayed, cutting off every single method of escape, with the major focal points of their forces being uphill and downhill within the meadow itself, having just emerged from the line of trees. A well-coordinated encirclement. Immediate actions upon... Oh, one more thing. It's important. A hazy day. The moon is visible and huge, and the moon is black. Immediate actions upon porting in. We will begin with Nemi.
Nemi's going to look around real quick, see the group of people trying to gather their things, and usher Shadow Silk to head in their direction.
Yep, absolutely.
Gonna look for
it's general pandemonium around you, so there's many directions to go in. But you, atop Shadow Silk, you would spot Dermot. He has blonde thatched hair, and is notably only wearing like a beggarly robe, whereas the other people here are wearing more normal clothing. You can see people are hurrying to him and trying to pull him hither and thither and beg, like asking him for what to do. What would Nemi do?
She's gonna go push Shadow Silk right up to him, dismount, and just walk up to him and be like, "You're Dermot, yes?"
And as you do so, people are like moving out of the way as of the horse as it's approaching. And Dermot would turn to you. He looks completely calm, unlike everyone else here. And he would, rather than acknowledging your question, he would say, "You're from that place, the Enclave, aren't you?"
Yes.
And he would say, "Well then, please ensure that none of these good folk are come to harm, if you wouldn't mind."
I mean, that's the goal, but you're part of that group too.
As he is saying this and you are responding, a few of the devotees actually like step up and put hands on him and would say to you, "We are ready to die for Dermot. He cannot fall, and he will put himself in front of us if he must, but we cannot let him do that."
Well, then make sure you all stay behind me and the other guy.
Speaking of the other guy, Kaeranis, immediate actions upon porting in.
So, Kaeranis is following Nemi, and upon seeing Dermot, before he addresses Dermot, he's going to look at Revnus, who's sitting on his shoulder, and say, "This guy, I don't want you to leave his line of sight here. It's your job. You're going to go. Yep. And I'll send him off." And as Kaeranis comes up, he's actually not on Vanix at this point too. Mm-hmm. He probably took him just a little bit to go behind Nemi, I'm sure, going up that Shadow Silk.
Yep.
So he's gonna come up and look to him and say, Dermot, this is your honor guard. They're unarmed.
And he would say, I am not the sort to carry weapons, and I had begged them many times not to be a guard of any kind, but here we are, aren't we?
Well, this won't do. And he's going
If
to
you
turn
have arms to share, we'll take them.
Perfect. Yeah, he's going to turn to the devotees and say, absolutely, you have got to have a good set of armor. You need a sword. We're going to have you guys well decked out. I don't care if you can use them or not, but at least you'll be guarded. Oh, and some shields. And I've kind of got to use that as the speech because they're already quite excited. He doesn't really need to razz them up, which is what I was originally going to do. But and just simple ones, basically like Evis's armor and arming sword, and then adding like simple buckler. Doesn't have to be anything crazy, but.
And as Kaeranis is activating 2 arms to arm the Dramorites, you can hear people gasping as weapons are appearing in their hands. Are you targeting Dermot as well?
If he's willing, absolutely.
But as you can see that the gear is materializing on him, you see him calmly shake his head and he says, I will not raise a weapon. And he defiances your 2 arms.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
And Griselda, immediate actions upon porting in. There's the chaos of the camp that your 2 companions are starting to move towards. Dermot, what would you like to do?
So, can I just quickly ask a question before I take an action, which is, like, this camp, how defensible is it?
Terrible.
Cool.
Oh, no.
Okay, that's what I thought. So, in that case, I am just gonna... We're on a mountainside, right?
Yes, you are. A big, gently
cool.
sloping mountainside, meadow everywhere, forests all around.
Cool. Yeah, so I'm just gonna casually walk through the chaos, blowing bubbles on my pipe, and sort of eyeing up the surroundings. And as I do so, I am going to take off my cloak, fold it over one arm, and walk over towards a slightly, more sheer part of the cliff, and I am pitching that there is a cave with a narrow opening.
Oh,
which is a hideout using the effect of the weathered cloak.
Beautiful. And as she does so, where would she like to hang this? Like a...
I'm just going to say that as I walk into the little cave, blowing bubbles, I glance around and I see that there is a sharp piece of rock.
Yeah.
Like the cave is not smooth, it's kind of jagged and awkward. And there is a protruding piece of rock that I'm able to just hang up the cloak on as if it was like a coat hook or something.
Yep. Works perfectly fine. Textbook good use of the weathered cloak. Now, it's cramped, as you might imagine. Definitely not fitting a dozen people plus horses and everything in here. Probably would have trouble fitting 4. But there is room. Given that she is not particularly tall, her like hat would be like slightly askew from the angle, but she can stand at full height.
Nice. Yeah, okay. In that case, after surveying the cave for a second and nodding wisely to myself, I poke my head back out, hold the... actually, I'll put the pipe in my pocket. With both hands, I hold my staff like it's like a microphone with a microphone stand, and just yell, "Yo, guys, get that dude over here. I found a place to stash him."
Griselda's voice goes booming out just after the 2 arms is activated. Immediate follow-ups from Kaeranis, then Nemi.
Hearing that, Kaeranis is going to say, "Oh, perfect. Evis, you lead Dermot over towards Griselda, and you're on guard duty." He says he kind of stops for a second. "I have faith in you. Gives him a pat on the back.
He rolls his eyes and says, "Why?"
You want to be a knight? You're
Yeah,
gonna have to learn to protect the innocent.
a knight, not a babysitter.
Hey, sometimes that's what we got to do.
And he kind of trudges over to Dermot and says, "All right, kid, let's go." And even though you can see some of the Dramorites are like, as he does so, Dermot has literally no problem at all, and actually accepts the proffered hand and is pulled up. Dermot is small, like he's a small kid, even for 10, and so as such, Evis could probably throw him like over his shoulder pretty effortlessly if he had to. But in this case, he just starts like, "Come on, come on. Do you see the men with swords?
Nice.
Let's go." And Dermot goes like hustling away through the meadow with Evis right next to him. And you do see that for all of his whinging, Evis is head on a swivel, like noting the oncoming forces. He calls over his shoulder, "They're definitely going to know we're in here, by the way."
That's fine. We'll be ready for them. As he turns to the Dramorites, says, "All right, every one of you, you're with us. Let's get into position."
Will the prophet be safe?
Oh, we'll make sure of it.
We are not to leave his side, are we?
In essence, yes, but we'll be close.
And Dermot's voice rings out, "You can trust them. I've worked with their kind before. That's why I'm here in the first place." Nemi, follow-ups from you as Kaeranis is managing the protection of Dermot.
I'm going to look at Dermot's followers. Are there any in particular that do not look up for a fight?
Oh, yeah. I'd say like half of them. Not only do you have a couple of people, like a couple of youths who look like they are not adults yet. There's a pregnant mother in the troop, and there's also 2 grandparents in the troop, both of whom look over 70. They are all holding their weapons willingly, and yet they don't look like they're going to be able to take a battle. Having
Nemi
been
points at
pregnant
the-
and fought before, Nemi would know this.
Whoa. Nemi, experienced Thane, can tell that pregnant women and elderly people can't fight. I'm so glad we have you here to advise us.
Hey, look, she's got a point of intelligence now, all right? She's not a dummy.
Oh, yeah.
She looks at the pregnant woman and says, "You're going in the cave with him."
Why?
Looks at the... Well, because if anybody gets through all of us, you're the last line of defense.
Right. And she hurries off without another word of
She's
protest.
kind of like, "Get out of here." She looks at the kids and the elderly and says, the group of you, at the mouth of the cave."
And you can see that the two elders kind of like touch the kids on their shoulders. "Come on, then. We've been given our orders." And when one of the children starts to play, "But I want..." "No. Come."
Kaeranis, I think it might be better if you led the force at the mouth of the cave.
Okay. I can do that.
How far is the mouth of the cave away from the middle of the camp where we're assumably at right now?
For what's Nemi's might again?
5.
Oh yeah, lol. I was gonna say a stone's throw, but that's not a good analogy anymore.
Boulder's throw? Small throw?
This would be a fist-sized, like a two-handed rock underhand toss away for Nemi.
Okay. That's actually a decent distance. Nemi's gonna just kind of post up here, Mount Shadow Silk. Does Kaeranis have a banner?
He does not. Yep, that's one of the
Okay.
few things he doesn't.
He is the solo Thane, and by solo I mean 25 companions Thane.
Yep. He is the party.
Yes.
Other things just get a banner for temporary companions.
Yeah.
Kaeranis just
Yeah.
recruits permanent companions and says, "Nah, banner's
Yep.
overrated."
No, it's permanent or nothing.
Yep.
Nemi's gonna try to keep an eye on the incoming force and see if she can pick out the Hue Luen
Yep.
from the regulars, and see if she can spot the dragon.
Sensory stat.
Baseline.
Nice. In that case, as the forces are oncoming from again, it's an encirclement, so they're coming from like 4 major directions, but they're not perfectly spread. There are gaps, but they could collapse in to defend any given gap very effortlessly. Things that she would pick out. One seems to be mostly spears and shields. They are well arrayed, and beyond the spears and shields, there do seem to be some ranged soldiers, but even the ranged soldiers carry shields as well that they could probably like set down or pavis up into place. Each of the major 4 contingents does seem to be led by a pair of captains. The captains are wearing much brighter armor, and also of note that as the troops are assembling, the captains are raising these like large cymbals that almost look like big hand drums, and are striking them, and resounding this kind of resonant. You know the sound of like rubbing a finger around glass. Imagine that, but much louder and percussive, like a doom, doom. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Additionally, even though you can't hear their voices, it seems as though they're like calling orders to their soldiers as they're coming on. They could be Hle Luen, these captains. They are behaving differently. They are armored differently. And obviously, as you might imagine, the troops are all arrayed in red, though the red is only like markers and pennants upon them, with the rest of their kit seeming to be much more mundane. In terms of dragon, however, you don't need a sensory stat to see that. You would catch it when, as Nemi is looking up towards the sky, it is silhouetted against the moon. A beautiful sliver of red that undulates and drifts in the black face of the moon. It is enormous. It's not that high up in the air, but even just like eyeballing it, probably minimum 100 feet long, though very serpentine.
Okay. How many of those captains are there?
She can count 8.
8. She calls over to Kaeranis. 8 captains, possibly Hue Luen. I think I'm just gonna kick the hornet's nest.
Yeah, hey, that's perfect. I'll assist you with the Gara things when you're ready.
Oh, that's fine. We'll save that for when they're closer. Nemi takes out her revolver.
Yep.
Lines up a shot, and is gonna just take one of them out.
Now, what is her skill stat?
2.
Okay, that's good. Is she taking her sweet time to make sure this hits?
Yep. No, it's like battle hasn't started yet. She's calm, like taking a deep breath, letting it out slowly.
Does she want to do the straight ahead troop downhill, which is the biggest, but is also downhill? The uphill, which is the smallest troop, left flank, right flank.
The uphill, because when this starts in her mind, like running down the hill, they're gonna get here first. So she wants to make them as disorganized as possible first.
And as she is lining up the shot before she fires, let's jump back over to Griselda, then Kaeranis. Griselda, after setting up your little cleft, what would you like to do from here?
Leaning on my staff, I look up at the big dragon hovering over the moon, and lean over to my little fairy who's still floating up my shoulder and say, "Go get a closer look at that guy, would you?" And unlike the connect, the fairy is not intelligent enough to have the will to resist, so it just does as it's told. So it's just going to fly up towards the dragon.
Yep.
Eye in the sky.
As the ferry is rising, anything else Griselda would like to do before it arrives, or is she just focused on the dragon?
I can see that the other two are getting ready to handle the oncoming troops.
Oh yeah.
But I will just comment when Kaeranis mentions about helping out with the making of noise. I will just add in, oh yeah, I can be of assistance with that too. And I will bang my staff on the ground again as a little reminder that it exists.
As you are doing so, by the way, Evis would arrive with Dermot, who would duck his way into the cleft, saying to you as he passes, "Thank you." You would also hear a as a little streak of orange follows him into the cleft.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Also, I don't know if I don't think I said this before, but I will leave the cave because like there's not much room in there.
I imagine, and also to look
so,
up at the
yeah.
moon, you'd have to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
I will be standing like just outside it somewhere.
Totally. At this point, is she going to be checking in with her eye in the sky, or does she have other actions first?
Yeah, I'll just take out my pipe again and idly blow bubbles as I check in with the eye in the sky.
Mm-hmm. Now, the majesty of this creature may be lost on Griselda, given who she is. But to further emphasize, the chalk drawings were actually extremely accurate. Not photorealistic, but like stylistically very accurate. It is a gorgeous animal. Animal, we say in enormous scare quotes. It is four-limbed, kind of Chinese dragon style. It has that great crescent moon-shaped face that kind of bends down and also kind of like goes back in like a little frill or a crest. Its body is long and slender and sinuous. And while it does have wings, unlike a Chinese dragon, its wings are very stylized. They almost look like spaceship wings on either side and do not beat as it flies. Additionally, the way it glides through the air isn't like swimming, nor is it like flying. It really would be best described as very beautiful hovering.
Okay.
The other things that you would note, besides noting its enormous size, is you would see that your fairy, as it's kind of like getting up a little bit closer, would be hesitant to draw near it.
Okay. That's fine. Once the fairy gets within audible range, it says to the dragon,
Hey, listen!
and then I recall it telepathically at will because that's the thing I can do.
Indeed.
So I just order it to fly back. So it literally just flies up to the dragon and says, "Hey, listen," and then it comes back.
Quite. And
Yes.
will you be dropping your eye in the sky connection at this point, or will you be maintaining it?
No, I'll maintain it to see what the dragon does as my little fairy bugs it. And then
Indeed.
leaves.
Your telepathic link with your fairy is snapped immediately.
Damn. Oh well, you did your duty, little annoying fairy. You annoyed someone.
And not only that, Griselda would be able to see that the red streamer up in the face of the moon begins to turn. What's your sensory stat, by the way? Baseline? I think it's baseline.
Just baseline, I
Yep.
think.
In that case, she'd be able to see the streamer kind of the Gwender reorient itself and then slowly start to snake its way closer through the air. Before we go further,
Cool.
Kaeranis.
Yep.
Having, Nemi has assisted with part of the marshalling, but where are you going to be positioning yourself? She's obviously, like, made sure that the people who aren't going to be quite as able-bodied are in, like, more backline duties, but what are you going to be doing with the core group of like half a dozen soldiers that you have?
Yeah, so the us as the soldiers, we're going to keep everybody behind us and kind of in more secluded. The terrain around us here, is it perfectly flat or
Mountain slope.
are we
And
kind of
so
tucked away?
It's a gentle meadowed mountain slope, lots of unevenness and divots and bumps. The cleft that Griselda is in, that has found for you, imagine this mountain slope, it's like this, you know what I mean? And so there is an enemy group that will be able to completely high ground you at the mouth of it if they are not cut off. But admittedly, the one who's coming from up above is the smaller of the four major encircling parties. Also
Gotcha.
of note is that even though it's a relatively gentle mountain slope and it's meadowy and pleasant, it's still a mountain slope, and as such, going up it like the main force will be doing is going to be slow going for them.
Gotcha. All right, so he's going to address the what he's calling the honor guard, and he is going to say, "All right, 8 of you at the front. Keep these people safe and behind you." No, scratch that. 10 of you, 2 of you
Oh, rather
with me.
half a dozen, not a dozen.
Oh, half a dozen. Oh, you okay? All right, that changes things. But still, four at front, 2 with me. He's going to the backside, and considering that he's yeah, kind of keeping the cleft like in the center of this.
Yep, exactly.
And he is going to, considering he's embracing more of the support role right here. He's going to want to expend a bit of essence to build up a very large shield wall with the perk of with 2 of the perks, the large oval, as if it would usually be his dueling circle, but this time I want the shields facing outward, with the intent of anybody getting close getting knocked back.
Okay. What is going to be your paired action to set this shield wall before we go further?
It'll be a pretty big one, so it's going to need to be pretty big motion, I would assume. So he's going to come out wide with his arms, slam into his chest, and also stomp down with his left foot, trying to just make the biggest little boom he can.
And he's going to be unmounted for this portion, I'm guessing?
Oh yes, yeah, he's still mounted, yeah.
And as the 2 that you've brought with you are like kind of hurrying to your side, slam, stomp, and Kaeranis would feel the kind of like internal tax on his soul as he feels the shield wall rise. And as this is happening, he also hears the of a gunshot from Nemi. She's had her sweet time to line up this shot, and because of this, she can see that the revolver, and she's got a pretty chunky gun, if I recall correctly.
Yeah,
it's a big boy. And because of this, she sees that the shot knocks down the captain. Like, probably it at least hold the chest plate, maybe killed him outright. Knocks down one of the 2 captains of the top group. And immediately after he goes down, you can see that the other one, still holding up that great symbol, gives another strike, yelling over his shoulder, and tosses the symbol into the air, where it hovers and turns a gentle red, where previously it had been clear. As he does so, his force begins to rush downhill. Admittedly, it's not a huge force. It's only about a dozen men. And it seems that only 4 of them have ranged weapons. The ones with ranged weapons only go a short distance before they begin to slow and presumably load, while the others, with shields up but spears not yet brought to bear, are just trying to get downhill as quick as they can. Nemi would know that Kaeranis is in position currently to her right. Follow-ups that she would like to take from here after this first shot.
Nemi's going to dismount and send Shadow Silk towards Kaeranis.
Yep. You can see that
and
Shadow Silk and Phoenix both kind of up against each other. You know what I mean? Because they're both male, I believe, if I recall correctly. Is that true? Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
And so they would definitely have what's this guy doing again? Because they've met each other before. But
yeah, I will note Shadow Silk is 26 hands high.
Yeah, and so
way bigger than Phoenix.
Phoenix is outsized, and yet they have a way of still trying to post up against each other, even if just for a moment to ensure they know who's boss at the given moment. But Nemi, follow-ups after doing so.
Yeah, she's gonna look for a few. This is a mountainside, so a few baseball-sized rocks.
Oh, easily done.
She's gonna pick up 2 or 3 of them.
Yep.
And she's going to just look at the ones that are charging down with the shields, And she's gonna just hurl back and let a couple of these things fly directly at the shields.
This thing hitting is substantial. As a brief aside, the humble sling is a wildly disregarded weapon in modern discourse. Slings kill people in a big way.
Oh yeah.
They were a scary weapon, and Nemi is delivering more power than a sling with twice the size of payload. And because of that, as she plows one of these, yeah, exactly, and she can hit on top of that, especially if she like takes her time, lines it up, boom. And so because of this, the first of these stones plows into a man's shield, and like literally knocks him stumbling, even though it got him in the shield. The second one would take a man in his shoulder and send him spinning to the ground, like clutching his arm in pain. And the third one hits another shield, but only because the soldiers who are charging post up with their shields up, trying to be like, what the hell is this woman throwing at us? You know what I mean? So it halts the charge briefly, but at the same time, their like small handful of range troops that they have also begin unloading towards Nemi. And as it would transpire, they are wielding predominantly slings. You can see them like getting them whirring above their heads and unleashing down the hillside towards you. They do have the height advantage and are clearly quite proficient, and Nemi would immediately feel like one whiz past near, another chunk off her armor. It's like they're good shots, but her
not
armor
wearing armor.
Oh, she has no armor on? She'd feel it, but she
Not
has
yet.
5 resilience, so she'd only feel it. And because of that, eating a sling stone like to the rib without even flinching, what would she do from here? But you see the slingers are reloading. They don't even know they hit you because you had no reaction.
I mean that didn't really hurt.
No.
So if they're cool staying up there targeting her, which was the whole point of this, she's just gonna pick up more rocks and try to aim for them.
And the first...
They don't have shields.
No, they don't. And they're more lightly armored. The first one you throw looks like it breaks a man's hand outright. Just shatters it. And you can see that as this one slinger goes down, another hurries over to him. You see them like briefly look to each other, exchange words, and then just like slowly turn downhill to look as you're like loading up another. And immediately...
This time it's going to be a handful of pebbles.
Oh, God. And you can see that as you do so, they are like calling to each other, trying to figure out what the hell is going on. But it's at this point that the captain catches up with them, having been a little back to toss the symbol into the air. As the captain is walking among them, again, substantially better armed and armored, the captain would raise a hand, and you can see that the floating red symbol in the air would send a gentle red beam to the sling of one of the men as he is like urged to throw. Yep.
2 reflex gonna tuck and roll out of the way as soon as he's in the forward motion. Tuck and roll to the side, and that grape shot throw that she's gonna make is gonna be aimed at that thing that the captain threw up into the air.
Yeah. As she is getting back to her feet, she would realize that the stone that was thrown flew like 3 times faster and left a little red tracer streak behind it. However, as she is getting back up and hurls her handful of grape shot up towards the symbol, she sees it pulse with red light, and the grape shot is repelled, like bouncing away from it. The captain gives a roar, and the charge resumes. But as this is happening, Kaeranis has had his shield wall very firmly put into play. He hears the 2 of the Dramorites that are beside him just kind of like, oh my goodness, as it's coming up around them, like in awe of the magic that he is summoning. As he does so, what does Kaeranis want to do once his circling shield wall is in place?
Gotcha. He's going to look to the 2 Dramorites, put his hands on his shoulders, and say, all right, now watch True Warrior in action, but be here, ready for backup in case she needs it. And I'm going to look back down the mountain slope.
Yep.
At the cleft opening. Is there? Do I see like a large boulder that may be about the size of the cleft
That's an excellent
entry?
question. What's your luck stat?
There, I baseline luck. I'm just hoping that based on geography.
In that case, no, but
Okay.
there are a handful of large boulders along the mountain slope. There's a one like 70 yards away or so that looks
Okay.
comparable, but it's a big frickin' rock. Like Kaeranis just
Yeah.
shaping it up. Even he's what 3 or 4 might at this point.
4.
4.
No, sorry, 3.
3?
4
Yeah.
resilience. Yeah.
Like looking at it, he'd be like, "Oh God, maybe on a good day you could lift that once."
Hmm. It's disappointing. Yeah. While he wants to try it, he also knows there are more important things. And he's gonna go. He's gonna go down to the cleft entrance. But what he wants to do here is he actually wants to kind of like a crouch slide motion almost that he's going with here, and he's going to run his left gauntlet along the slope as he's kind of sliding down towards cleft entrance, and he's building up a massive amount of earth as he's doing this stone, because he wants to make a very, very large shield.
As Kaeranis is sliding down, building his Earth Shaper, he would notice 2 other things. One, even though they are lagging behind the upper group, the left and right flanks have begun to charge as well. And the front flank, the downhill, or the downhill front, is also, like, just now, they're beginning to toss their symbols up into the air, which seems to be what initiates their charging. As he is building up his shield, however, let's jump back over to Griselda. Fairy be gone, but what would you like to do from here?
Well, so the dragon is approaching. Is it like approaching? Is it going to land in like a matter of seconds, or reaches in a matter of seconds, or do I have time to do another thing first?
You have enough time. It seems to move very fast, but it was also quite far away, and just judging by its like body language, it doesn't seem to be going as fast as it maybe could.
Cool. Second question. When you were talking, when you were dealing with Nemi and that, only one guy had the floating symbol thing up, but then when you're dealing with Kaeranis, other people started putting them up as well. Can I take an action before all of the things have been put up in the sky?
Absolutely. And I will let the only reason that in Nemi's group only one person threw it up is that she shot the other one.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking is, as I'm waiting for the dragon to show up, I look around, see Nemi chucking stones about, and I think to myself and say aloud, "That is a good idea." So I look around and I'm just looking for like a small rock, maybe about that size.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll just, when I get to any rocks of that size, I'll just sort of give them a nudge with my toes to see if they're loose or not. And then, as the people are approaching and they've not yet chucked their symbols in the air, I will take my time to sort of aim, I suppose, just narrowing my eyes a bit, adjusting my sight.
Poking out
and
your
then
tongue.
what I'm going to do, yes, and then what I'm going to do is reach back with my staff, like preparing to swing it. And due to my hat, I can change the position that my voice is shot from instead of just my mouth. And due to my staff, I can give my voice impact force.
Yes,
so
indeed.
as I'm swinging my staff at this little rock, I want to, at the top of my lungs, shout, 4! And hit it like a golf ball straight towards one of the symbols.
Oh God! And blast the sound from that's great.
Yeah.
Questions? Skill stat.
Skill is +1, might is +1, vigor is +2 if that matters.
That actually is a really useful stat spread for this. How many rocks are you willing to hit in quick succession?
I would say I would probably only hit the one to start with, but actually, you know what? If it's okay with you, what I would do is before I hit any of them, like I said, I was nudging them with my toes.
Yeah.
I would just nudge them into a line of, let's say, 3,
That's good.
and then 1.
Yeah. That's exactly what I needed, because she'd at least need 1 stroke to gauge like power and distance. And
Yeah.
But on the third, as this thing is launched out across, the humble rock doing work on this mission already.
Yes.
Would you be
Vox
aiming
2 OP.
at the downhill or the left or right flank? Left and right flank are closer.
I think it's easier to make things go further when they're going downhill. Also, I think the downhill group are already going to have the hardest time because of having to run uphill. So let's just make their lives even harder.
Nice. In that case, the first shot goes wild. The second shot goes not quite as wild. The third shot not only strikes the symbol, but strikes it before it starts glowing red, because you were timing this for before they had fully finished setting it up. You would hear a sound. It's not like breaking glass. The best way I could describe it is breaking glass played in reverse on like a cassette tape. It's a strange kind of alien, unnatural noise. As it does so, she can see that while it does not like stop the charge from down below, it does leave them with only 1 of those floating red discs.
Nice.
But on top of that, the soldiers would like look up to it, clearly dismayed just by the fact that they like slow down a little bit as they are moving. Before their captains like whip them back into shape and start getting them to move back up the hill. After doing so, playing some golf, it's very Griselda. I've only known her for an hour now, and that's already very Griselda. Follow-up actions from her.
Follow-up actions, I think, at this point is check on the progress of the dragon, and if it is still not nearby, I will just start walking downhill.
The dragon is getting close enough that it's casting a shadow. Though the moon is black, it still shines with light, like a black light. And
Cool.
the dragon is now casting a shadow over the meadow side, given that it turns out, as Griselda's looking around, remember when I said it's like approaching sunset? She can't see a sun. The light is coming from the moon. It just seems like the quality of light is changing at this time of day.
Interesting. Okay.
And as it's getting closer, but at a guess, she still has like 20 seconds or so before it gets into like really relevant range.
In that case, as I start sauntering downhill, trying to look casual, I will take out my pipe and I will start blowing bubbles again. Although, this time, because the pipe has the magical and extremely powerful effect of allowing me to make the bubbles go into shapes, I'm going to turn them all into little cutesy cartoon dragons.
That's very cute. And as it's kind of popping into little shakes, each like little one like as the dragons take a shape and then pop. As Griselda is starting to make her way downhill, however, Nemi, with rocks at side, you are like completely holding up the upper group, at least at moment. They're being forced to enter a full defensive like shield position with their captain like overseeing it.
Okay. Are they still the closer group, or are the sides starting to come in?
At this point, the sides are starting to come in.
Closer.
The one on your left would be the closest to you now.
Okay. Gonna pick up another rock. This one's gonna be a little smaller.
Yep.
Like bigger than a golf ball, smaller than a baseball, because she wants to make sure that she can really aim this one.
Yep.
She's going to line up a shot at one of the captains coming in from the left.
Sure. I should note that the group on the left, similar size to the upper one, not very big, like maybe a dozen people, though again 2 captains. They have 2 floating red symbols above them, each a perfect little disc.
Kind of expects it to get deflected, because now they know what's coming. but she's hoping that the fact that this one's smaller going to fly faster because she's really going to put some oomph into it.
Mhm.
She's hoping that it's going to get there before that magic stuff has a chance to take effect. And she's going to throw it at one of the captains.
Fireballing this thing towards it. Sure enough is deflected. The two ringing cymbals emanate that strange like percussive glass sound.
Yep.
And the rock is like harmlessly bounced to the side. Both of the cymbals seem to work in tandem to deflect it. And at the same as she does so, one of the captains issues a command, and a barrage of slingers of slingstones are fired at Nemi, each one trailing that red tracer, and all three going at immense speed, like almost as fast as her own throw.
2 reflex. Start summoning my armor, but what I know that's going to take a few seconds. She's going to take out her kite shield, take one of the Giza off so that it activates the magical knockback effect, and she wants to bat them back up the hill.
And as she is taking off the kite shield, the stones come fast enough she doesn't get the Giza in hand before they are on top of her, meaning that she is forced to just like block the attacks instead. And again, she's incredibly tough. She's unbelievably tough. And so because of that, even if these don't hurt, especially through a shield, she can feel them. She's like, okay, that actually has some serious like oomph behind it. And immediately the slingers are already reloading as she is getting a Giza ready to go. What do you want to do from here?
Given that she could feel the impact on the shield, would that cause actual damage to her without the armor? If she were to eat one?
It would probably give her at least a bruise.
Alright. She's got the armor on now, so that's fine. Range attack's probably not going to work. She yells over to Kaeranis, because she knows Kaeranis has better hearing than she does. She goes, well, I think I kicked it hard enough. Now I'm just going to wait for it to get here.
And Kaeranis,
sounds great.
As you have dragged your way down to the cleft with the arraigned Dramorites with their weapons, like still kind of looking at the shields in wonder that you've summoned around them, but also with their eyes focused downhill towards the big force approaching. What would you like to do now that you have built up this massive Earth Shaper before we catch you up to when Nemi calls to you?
Nice. How much have I built up on this shield? Can I say this is like a 3-foot tall tower shield?
Oh, you could do more than a 3-foot tall tower shield, especially if you're
Even
not
better?
sliding quickly.
Nice. All right, nice. And yeah, he is going pretty slow. So I'm going like a big boy, like almost full body height. Yeah.
Yeah, you can get this thing like comfortably as big as yourself. Though I will note, it's heavy. Like this would be a heavy Earth Shaper thing, but powerful and large.
Okay, and addressing the Dramorites in front of me. All right, they're going to be coming. We must hold our position here. Could not let them get the boy. It's our job here. As much as I want to go run out there, it's our job here to hold this cleft. So I need 2 of you on either side of my flank. I'm going to sit a few feet in front of this cleft face, and I'm going to hold my ground as he pulls his ear spoon off his back and gets it readied up.
And as he is saying this to the Dramorites, he would hear that he would feel them silently nod, and a few would say, "The prophet will not be hurt, not while we draw breath. Never."
What I like to hear.
And down the hill, like down the slope from him, Kaeranis, he has +1 sensory, or is it +2 at this point?
He has +1, I believe.
Yeah, I believe.
Yes.
Yep. He would see the whirling of slings with streaks of red coming from them as a barrage of juiced up sling stones, each streaking a tracer of red, goes ripping up the hill. passing completely over Griselda's head in the process, by the way. They're nowhere near to hitting her, just like they would pop a bubble incidentally as they're passing. These things come in with immense speed, way faster than a sling stone should normally be able to be thrown. And also, given that they are downhill, you have shields in place. They are arcing them a little high to get overhead, and as such, don't have perfect positioning.
Okay. So their grouping is pretty wide.
Yep.
Here.
Just a barrage.
Okay. Does any of them... Well, Kaeranis is not worried about the ones that are coming his direction. He's going to body the shield. But does it look like it's going to hit the Dramrites?
Seems totally possible. He can't gauge for sure. They're coming in too fast.
All right, what he's going to do is he's going to set the shield wide as he's got his full plate on here. And he's going to use his body as a shield just in case it hits the ones on his side.
Yep. And as he steps into place, he would feel like about 4 of the sling stones pepper in about him. It's, again, hard hits. And his, I think, is he at 4 resilience now, or is he up to 5?
4 resilience.
Yeah, 4, yeah. And so because of this...
It'd be nice if it was 5.
Yeah. Once again, similar situation to Nemi. He'd be like, wow, these are actually problems. However, at the same time, none of them truly damage him. That said, he does hear a yelp from behind him. And he would hear an immediate cry of alarm from one of the elders who are outside of the cleft.
Who's hit?
And you can see one of the younger Dramrites, like one of the ones close to Dermot's own age, is bleeding wildly from the jaw. It looks like the sling stone just shattered his jaw.
Oh, dear.
And
that's gonna be hard.
As you do so, one of the Dramrites by your side would call, "Should we fall back? Maybe. But then that would leave the he gestures to the shields. Your defense is unmanned."
Well, I think yes. You should fall back. I'll hold.
They pull their way back, trying to get their shields up as they like body block the downed boy, who's being tended to by another one of them. And then you see another salvo of sling stones come ripping up the side of the mountain. At the same time, also, Kaeranis would eat a couple from his left, where one of the flank that Nemi isn't on is now barraging in as well. Though in this case, even though it took him in the side of the head, his armor and resilience are enough that this is like, it's unpleasant and like would ring his ears, but it wouldn't be worse than that.
Gotcha. The ringing is going to slightly set him off adrenaline wise, and he is now going to. How far away are these people throwing the slings?
The downhill or
really
to
far?
your left?
Both.
Downhill, they're still a ways away, like at the outer end of what like a normal sling would be able to do. So, call it like almost 100 yards. Because those things can go far when you know what you're doing. The ones on your left are much closer, more like 40 yards away.
Gotcha. And it's just from the left that they're coming in, not the right?
Yes, Nemi's handling the right.
That's right. Yeah, okay. All right, so in that case, that makes things a little easier. The ones on the left, he is now paying attention to them, still keeping his shield pressed forward. He is going to stomp in heavy and kind of like gesture that direction as he wants to build a wide and tall shield wall in front of these guys, going for the knockback effect.
Okay, so given that he has currently an encircling shield wall active, how is he going to be doubling this up? Do you have a perk for it, or is this something you're going to be pure energy working?
I don't have a perk for it, so this is going to be energy working. Because
that's going to need a pretty heavy paired action.
Yeah.
Here, do you want a moment to think about it while I check in with Griselda?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Totally. Griselda, red streaking slingstones are zipping over your head now, and like barrage after a barrage. But you're just kind of trooping your way down. None of them are at risk of hitting you whatsoever.
Nice.
I'm guessing you're not going, like, are you purposefully moving towards the downhill contingent, or are you mostly just trying to keep eyes on the Gwender above?
I am walking towards the downhill people, but I'm just blowing bubbles on my pipe. I'm not particularly threatening looking. If possible, I would also stand underneath the dragon's shadow as I'm doing it, but if that's out of the way, then I won't bother.
Oh no, that's
I'll just go straight down.
absolutely doable, in fact.
Nice.
Now, that also said, this would mean that you would see as the shadow's edges become crisper and more defined as the Gwender gets bigger and bigger and bigger and closer and closer and closer.
As it does, once I deem that it is close by enough that I might need to use my 2 reflex to dodge if I am wrong about what it's going to do next, then I will jam the butt of my staff into the ground, because it's like earthy, isn't it? Because it's got stuff growing on it.
Yep.
Yeah, so that it kind of just stands there. And then I will use my now free hand to hold onto my hat as I tilt my head back and look up.
And as you do so, the Gwender has come down close enough that it is almost directly over its like group of soldiers that are coming up, but it's not like positioning itself deliberately like that. It's fully in your view, still with the moon silhouetted behind it, resplendent and gorgeous, even if these are lost on Griselda. And as it does so, she would feel its voice like a windstorm come about her, not without any like physical sound produced. And yet it would like take her aback, and like her hat would almost feel like it's gonna blow off.
Yeah, good thing I hold on to it then.
Yes, indeed, quite. As the Gwender's mighty voice kind of like rushes over her as it says, "Your eye. Why have you sent it to me?"
In response, first thing first, I should just say I'm just gonna like as this powerful voice booms around her or whatever, Griselda's mind would just flash back to her past when she has had meetings with powerful wizards, like who could easily like obliterate her with a snap of their fingers.
Yeah.
And despite this, she continues wearing a fake beard and blowing on a bubble pipe in mockery of their profession right to their face. And so as a result of that little tiny defiance, I'm just going to say that she is not particularly shaken, even though anyone with a few brain cells to rub together really would be in this situation.
Beautifully said. What is her will?
Just 1.
Awesome. That's all you need.
1+. But yeah, so anyway. Yes, in response to what he says, I will completely ignore what he said, and instead I will say, hey, Tortharun, what up, my dude?
And as she says this, you can see that there's a strange blur in the air in front of you, almost like a heat haze, as Torith...
Dive!
Is she hitting the deck?
Dive to the side,
Yep.
grab my staff, and roll.
And as she does so, landing among the meadow, she would hear the sound of, like, heavy feet in the earth next to her.
Cool.
And, like, is this like a peeking up sort of thing, or, like, what would she do?
I will stop rolling on my back with the hat covering my eyes.
Yep.
And then I will just reach up and move it to the side as if like I'm just sleeping or something with the hat to block out the light. And then I will blow a bubble in the shape of a dragon that just sort of floats up past his face.
And as you do so, Torith Tarun is now in human form. The Gwender human form is large and imposing, and is very uncanny valley between kind of human and reptilian. It has some of their kind of Gwender traits, the kind of like long accentuated neck. It has claws at the ends of the hands, rather scaled, but besides that is pretty humanoid overall and very large. Still brilliantly ruby red. And also completely unreadable expression. But you don't feel, it's like he's not taking any sort of aggressive action to you, at least at this point.
Cool.
And as you do so, you would again feel his voice, though it's less intense than before, again kind of rush over you, as he would say,
"Do you wish to parley? I want only the lost prophet."
Funny you should say that, actually. Yes, I do wish to parley. Although, before we begin this negotiation, I should let you know that you guys, not specifically your family, but like the Gwender more generally, as an organization, kind of already owe us. That guy that you want dead, he was part dragon before. Pretty big upset to your system, I know. We solved that. We turned him back to human for you. He's just a harmless human now.
And as you would say this, you would hear the kind of like of like the downhill contingent coming close, but they part around you like the Red Sea, not daring get close to Toreth Tarun.
Okay, wait. I use my hat.
Yep.
And I throw my voice at the same time as changing my voice. I want to sound like him. It won't have this mystical effect of coming from everywhere, but I want to make his voice say the word stop loudly, and I want it to originate from his mouth.
And as you do so, this is going to be a couple of quick actions happening side by side by side. Imagine in a martial arts film when the hero throws a punch and the master grabs it effortlessly. That is how it feels when your magic tries to project from his mouth. It is as though he catches it without moving a muscle and immobilizes it. Follow-ups within this little, like, magical exchange. What would she do from here?
Let me see. So, I would picture him with a beard. And in my head, anyone with a beard is completely unworthy of my respect. Because a beard symbolizes age, and that is why my profession is called a greybeard. Other people think this makes them wise and esteemed, and to me, it just means they took decades to learn something that I learned before I was even in my 20s, really.
Oh, one quick thing to work out there. You know that Toreth Tarun is very young for his kind. How would you reconcile that?
I
see where you're going. It's a good place, but keep it up.
Yeah. Good point. Okay. I would also think of him. I would also think of the kid back in the cave. And how he is young looking, but he's mentally old. We know that although he looks young by human standards, he has the mental and chronological age of an adult, because that's why he's also wise, and everyone's like, whoa, he's so wise. And they appreciate him or whatever for being like way smarter than he really looks, but actually that's because he's not really that young. He just looks young. But I mean, the same thing's true for this dragon, in my opinion. Maybe I am being ageist, but Griselda thinks everyone should age in human years, and dogs and other animals don't get special treatment.
And
so yeah, she also pictures him as a dog. He's a dog with a beard.
And as Griselda's irreverent mind conjures this up, with this as the basis for, I'm presuming, a defiance.
Yeah.
What are you going to be trying to push through? Like, imagine he has caught the punch of the magic, quote unquote. What is this, metaphorically speaking, going to be doing with that punch that he has caught?
Yeah. Okay. He has caught it, and metaphorically speaking, I cannot remember where I have seen this before, but I'm pretty sure I've seen it once or twice before. But imagine a scene in which one person is trying to fight someone, and then the other person just sort of like grabs them, maneuvers them or whatever them, and starts dancing.
Oh, I see.
So like, imagine in the punch metaphor, someone grabs your hand and you would just go like that, and then the next thing you know, you're in a waltz.
And as her little irreverent defiance slips his grip on her magic, the stop would emit. It would not have the same like feeling, of course, but it would sound the same as she experienced. Stop. And sure enough, the host around would freeze in place, like halfway around you guys, cupping you in kind of like a natural little encirclement. Though I should note, none of them dare look at you, even. Now, as this has happened, almost immediately, Toreth Tarun has not reacted placidly to being, even if for a brief moment, out-magicked by a human. And you would feel another kind of like powerful rush emit from him. There's no like word to it, but she would again experience it almost like wind. As Griselda would feel, how to describe this, a strange quietude descend upon her soul.
Okay. So, okay, yeah, no, that works, that works. When this happens, I sit up from my lying down position, and I will take off my hat and just set it in my lap. So I'm still technically wearing it. I'm wearing it. But yeah, brush my hair back and steeple my fingers and seriously, because I have had my soul quietened and all of the humor leaves my voice as I say, frivolous though my attitude may be, nothing I said was actually wrong. It would behoove you, O wise dragon, and assorted humans, to think carefully about your next moves and what exactly you aim to do here. Because, to my eye, it seems like this man has already been neutered as a threat. He has but a dozen followers remaining. Everyone else deserted him when his divine draconic nature was counteracted by my colleagues. At this point, whilst your minions may feel some lingering discomfort at the thought of bringing harm to him, he is no real threat to anyone. On the other hand, if the humans see him as having been martyred, one of their own who ascended to the heavens and was then cast down and cruelly crushed by a being infinitely greater than himself. Do you not think that this could lead to further problems? Perhaps peasant revolts? Perhaps something more? Even a dark and twisted religion could arise, worshipping this fail figure, perhaps. And I'm going to say that this is the paired action for winds of change, appropriately, because of the topic of the speech. And as I speak, I would like this speech that I just gave to be disheartening my listeners at the same time as the temporary but unseasonable change upon my surroundings is dark clouds blotting out at least some, if not all, of the light of the moon.
Oof.
Ominously.
Very well done. Now, as Griselda is doing so, before we see the result of that, we're going to jump back over to Nemi. But before we do, I'm so sorry, I got to hit the bathroom. I'll be back in less than 60 seconds.
No problem. That gives me a chance too.
Really great speech.
Thank you.
I've been in the audience for a couple you've done, but I've never actually been on mission with you, which is great.
Oh yeah.
Oh, sorry, Dippy. Looks like you have to wait for it to come out. Emmy's got some shenanigans to pull.
Nice. I really liked the throwing rocks. That was awesome.
It's one of those, like, she's only got the 6 shots in the revolver plus her 1 speed loader, so I'm like, I could probably try to take most of them out, but I'm like, they're, you know, just works. I've done it before.
I might throw rocks.
Okay, I'm back.
Yeah. With 2 skill, they're gonna hit.
Yeah.
Perfect timing. Okay.
Yes.
Nemi, to you from here. As you have called over to Kaeranis, you realize that he does not respond to you. And as you have called over to him, you notice the barrages of sling stones that he is currently under threat by. Even
All
if
right,
it seems like he's fine, they are definitely causing the Dramorites to fall back.
Yep. All right, so they have fallen back to the mouth of the cave, essentially.
Yep.
That's great. First, Nemi is going to yell for Kaeranis to catch. She's going to take her Nostrum and throw it to him. And then is going to lift up her foot. She stabbed her Geisa into the ground next to her to take out the Nostrum and throw it. Then she is going to stomp her foot hard on the ground and activate Shield Wall with the both perks, Turtle Up and Mirror Finish. And she's going to target the group at the mouth of the cave. So it forms a Tessuto around them, and any projectiles that hit it because of the compound perk on Mirror Finish travel directly back to their point of origin.
Excellent. As Nemi is doing so, just realized, if Pseudo ever persuades everyone to actually do that Enclave intramural baseball team, Nemi's the pitcher.
Yep.
Good luck hitting those pitches.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
And as she does so, immediate follow-ups from her. She'd actually eat a couple of sling stones to the back in the moment or two she's doing this. But again, it's Nemi, 5 resilience, full armor. Even these enhanced sling stones are doing nothing to her. What does she want to do immediately afterwards?
Immediately after doing that, throwing the Nostrum, she's going to... How close is the closest group to her?
That would be the left, the flank that she was facing from where you guys started would be the right flank. They are very close at this point. The slingers are not throwing point blank, of course, but it's like 20 yards. They are hitting every stone at this point.
Okay. At that point, she's going to leave that Geisa there. Take out one of her bastard swords.
Yep.
And going to charge the group. What she wants to do with 2 reflex is whenever several stones are about to hit her at once, she is going to come down with one of her feet and smash into the ground and reactivate Shield Wall because she does have a compound perk on it that says while it is active, she can activate it a second time and cover a separate small group. She's going to do it to herself.
That's so cool. And because of that, the next barrage of slingstones are perfectly reflected backwards. Is she dropping the shield wall like immediately afterwards? Is just to do this?
Nope, she is charging in, knowing that the shield wall will stick around her, and she can knock some of them around as she charges through the
Because she
line.
has the testudo up. Excellent. And as she barges in, she scatters the soldiers. Like, they are helpless against her. She is far too powerful for them. And even like that, when they try to put spears against her, she's coming in with 5 might. What is it? 3 vigor? Is it?
3 vigor.
Yeah, and then plus her juiced up testudo shield wall that also repels. Their spears splinter as she doesn't even need to use her bastard sword as she comes rushing and just splats people around. But as she is doing so, the one exception to this are the 2 captains of this group. They while they are like shoved to the side and like pushed away, she would see that up until now they have been unarmed. They've just been in this like fine armor. But not holding any particular weapons. You can see that each of them raise a hand as a short jabbing, like one-handed jabbing spear of red moonlight is conjured into their hands from the floating symbol that they have, the floating symbols that they have. I should note also, by the way, when you barge through, the floating symbols tried to create a shield. Your bastard sword being in your hand cleft through the magic, effortlessly breaking their line.
As soon as she sees the 2 captains armed, she will drop the testudo, and she's going after whichever one of them is closest.
Yep, that would be the one to her left. As she does so, he is immediately jabbing towards her head with like a high lunge with the spear, leaping into the air in order to do so. It's an elegant move despite his heavy armor. What does she want to do?
Kite shield still in hand. She's going to raise it just enough so that it hits and glances off.
Yep.
And because he's in midair, holding the bastard sword out for him to impale himself.
Yep, absolutely. She would hear the top of her shield sizzle as it takes the energy lance, so to speak. This thing clearly has enough juice in it to do something to it. But also, he parries her bastard sword with his armored arm, which has how do you call it? A reinforced like a edge on the forearms.
Like a plate on it.
Yeah, like a bracer. This would mean that he lands pretty much on top of the kite shield and reverses his grip on his energy spear to get it around the kite shield.
Gonna slide the kite shield out of the way.
Yep.
Aim top of her head to his face and jump.
As she is sliding the kite shield out of the way, however, he moves with it, getting low to the ground as the other one gets up behind Nemi, and in this case, sensory is still 0.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she would not hear him coming. He blasts his energy lance clean into her back. Thankfully, full plate plus mantle plus 5 resilience means that while she feels it, what would have been probably a lethal blow is not that bad. The way I would describe it is imagine someone turning a blowtorch on her back for about, like a normal person's back for about a second. Like, vroomf, like that. Painful, ow, awful, nasty. Not the worst thing in the world, at least not yet. Immediate follow-ups from her.
Sorry, so this guy is kind of still on her shield.
He's like sliding down onto the
it.
ground to get low as the other one has hit her from the back.
Okay. She is going to let out a battle cry and activate Garen Thinks. She has the perk Ignore My Allies. Garen Thinks scales in effect the more injured or endangered the Thane's allies are in. And she is going to come with the bastard sword, kind of put it on the edge of her kite shield, and just slide it at the guy.
Yep.
Hard and fast. Use it to guide and just punch in through his chest.
And in this case, he makes the terrific mistake of trying to count on his armor. And because of this, Nemi would see an unusual sight. Her sword actually bends for a moment when it hits his armor before her might wins out. It punches through the armor and slams him down to the ground. But as she is doing so, with Garathinks active, first of all, how is she going to keep... Is she going to be continuing to yell to keep up the noise of Garathinks, or is she going to one and done it?
No, she's gonna keep yelling. She's going to whenever she takes a step, it's gonna be more of a stomp than a step.
Yeah.
And that kind of a thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And as this one goes down, the other captain, bellowing at the top of his lungs, would yell, "The red moon rises! Fear no blade!" And she would see that the man that she has struck dead to the ground rises once again, as red moonlight gleams around him from the discs hovering in the air.
How far up are these discs?
About 15 feet up.
Cool. If that's the case, given the bastard sword's penchant for cutting through magics, Nemi is going to kneel slightly, like bend legs, launch herself at it, and bring the bastard sword's cutting edge towards it as she's going. So it's leading her.
She feels it slice through one after another layer of magical barriers that the disc tries to produce. 1, 2, 3, and then reaches it and shatters it effortlessly with that strange, like, reverse glass smashing noise playing again, taking out one of them. As she is coming down, however, she eats another energy lance thrust that this time gets her up into the armpit. A well-aimed hit given her trajectory of coming down. And again, it's a nasty one. This would have been brutal because, again, it goes for like a relative weak point in the armor. So remember that blowtorch analogy?
Yeah.
Imagine a normal person getting blowtorched in the armpit for like 3 seconds instead of 1.
Not cool. Not good. Okay.
But immediately the captain pulls the energy lance away and dances backwards as the other one that you previously killed and is now back on his feet charges her again from the front, though she can tell that even though he seems to be committing to a heavy charge, these guys have speed to them.
She's still coming down at this point, correct?
She is just landing as this is happening.
Just landing.
Yep.
Awesome. In correlation to her right now, where is that other symbol in the air? Is it directly above, to her left, to her
Excellent
right?
question. It would be mostly to her right. Call it if you were like 6 paces to your maybe not that small. 10 paces to your right, you'd be directly underneath it.
Awesome. She's going to launch herself at that one, doing the same thing, but she's aiming to launch herself at it and not come straight back down. She wants to launch herself well away from the 2 captains.
Yep.
So that they can't get her on the way down again.
And with another massive leap going through the air, this is an effortless target for Nemi's bastard sword. And it lands her amidst some of the foot soldiers who had been slowly being kind of rallied by their captains, but with Nemi landing on, they're not happening. They're scatter once again.
She's going to yell out with Garen thinks, "Just run, idiots," as she stomps back towards the captain.
Additionally, as she's doing so, she would notice that her Gareth thinks is pulling aggro. The uphill group that she did like work on already is all bearing down towards her here, and she even snagged part of the downhill group to redirect towards her as well. This does mean that there will be more floating red discs coming in, but one problem at a time. Now, Kaeranis, jumping back over to you.
Yep.
As
the nostrum coming through the air.
Yep. Before we get to the nostrum, you had that
okay.
If you want to reconsider the shield wall play, you can. But if you have an idea of what you want to do, then do it.
I did already reconsider that.
Sure.
Yeah. So I'm not going to do the shield wall, but the nostrum coming in.
Yep.
With the ringing in my head from the hit. Can I hear Nemi saying that it's coming?
What is your vitality stat, Nemi?
Vitality is 2.
1.
Vitality is 1 on Nemi.
Oh, it is 1, yeah. Oh, Nemi, sorry. My bad.
Indeed. And because of that, with the ringing in Kaeranis' ear, the thing that would draw his attention would not be Nemi's yell, it would be her shield wall popping up directly behind him, sheltering the Dramorites. There's like a wild pinging as slings, like bullets, project off of them in all directions. Oh, yep.
I don't know if it matters because I don't think the clouds have gone over the moon yet, so we still have the light from that. Her nostrum is a polished silver.
That is actually super relevant. Shit. And because of that, I will say, because Kaeranis has the critical 1 sensory, he catches the glimmer of silver whipping through the air towards him. Skill stat on Kaeranis.
Catch. Skill is only 1+. No? Did I get the second plus? Nope, still 1+.
Yep.
Second plus is
and because it's the 1+, he manages to block it, right? And so instead of it like catching in his hand, it like bounce out of his hand and onto the ground, meaning he'd have to stoop to grab it.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, he's still got the shield there. Just stoop to grab it. What's your side effect on this nostrum?
That remains to be seen.
Yeah.
It's great.
I pretty much have. It doesn't have a set one.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Well, he's going to go down the hatch with that.
Mm-hmm.
And he's also going to chase it as he pulls his endless tankard from his waistband. And he's doubling down here.
And as Kaeranis is chugging, I will ask Nemi for a pitch in a moment. With the Dramorites for the moment protected, he would also at this point see the clouds go across the moon, which casts this beautiful like evening into like kind of a weird inclement darkness that doesn't feel like it fits with the resplendent lushness of the area. But at the same time, he would also hear a clattering sound as his shield wall on that left flank that's been causing so many problems is starting to be actually tested. Like they've reached it, they're trying to batter their way through it.
Cool. Okay. Immediately upon drinking a bunch of the endless tanker, he's feeling quite drunk. He's just gonna very uncharacteristically start going into a deep belly laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And he's gonna change that tower shield. He's gonna drop like half of it, and we're just going with the quality round shield.
As he does so, he would see that as he drops the tower shield, he sees like almost a dozen sling bullets embedded in it, just kind of like spill onto the ground around.
Yes, nice. Then he's pulling his bastard sword, and so the ones below us are down quite a slope, right?
Yeah,
down the
downhill.
Mountain. Beautiful. Okay, wait. All right. Dispelling my shield wall.
Yep.
Very quickly. I know there's a little cooldown, but I'm going to try to energy work coming back as he is seeing this mass down below and remembering a former battle that he had where he was just a young soldier, not even squired yet. And they were expecting the enemy coming up their way, and in a trap they had sent rocks and boulders down to collapse upon these enemies. What he wants to do here is he wants to call upon quite a bit of his essence, and he wants to make a shield wall beneath the stones about, I don't want too much of this, so we're going to go pretty far out. It's going to be like 40 yards out or so, because they're still quite a ways, right?
Yeah, they're still quite a ways.
Yeah, and he wants to summon these shield walls just about a foot or some about 2 feet beneath the ground to bust up the rocks and create a landslide.
Oh shit, that's what you're doing.
With the
All right.
With the knockback from the shield wall.
As he is remembering this, give me the paired action for this. This got to be a big chunky paired action.
Oh yeah, and he's quite drunk, so he has got his arms wide. He's actually yelling out to think you can come get us? Got nothing on fast, and he's going to slam down once, slam down twice, and he's just kind of keeping stomp
Yep.
here as yeah.
As he does so, Kadrien, what's the downside for the Nostrum?
This one's gonna be lowers the target's self-preservation instincts.
And in Kaeranis' wild, drunken, energy-working state, the shields erupt. However, they do the job quite well. And because of that, the rocks that he is on at the moment slide out with it as he starts going down the mountainside with this small avalanche.
Okay.
Now, that said, the Endless Tankard does have a very nice little effect on it, where the more drunken you are behaving, the tougher you are. And so because of this, even as he is like being landslided down a mountain, going like slamming into things, and he is pretty much unscathed by the landslide as he is going down, even if he's being buffeted and flung about it. Jesus Christ. Before we go further with that, however, Griselda. Now, you had just made this fantastic Winds of Change. And you can see Toreth Talrun looks down to you, and you feel his voice emanate.
Wise words you speak, Hlen. There is much to what you say that has merit, and yet it is my family's will that this be done. And I have neither the rank, nor the wisdom, nor the authority to change that.
Would it make any difference to your calculation in your family's eyes? I'm not asking you to make a decision. I'm just saying, in your wisdom, what do you think your elders would believe about hold on one second. What would your elders think if you personally, after leading an army of 100 Hlen, by the looks of it, had to personally intervene in order to slay this man, and as a direct result of your action, he became martyred and led to further issues for your family? Because, let me tell you, were we not here, I am sure that your small army could have easily accomplished this task. But look uphill, see the carnage my allies are wreaking, and tell me that you believe your numbers can accomplish this task you have been set. And I would like to be like sort of pointing towards Nemi, who is, you know.
Is Griselda still on the ground? Because this would be like a
no,
like overhead.
So I did say that I sat up
when
he told me to be serious and made me all quiet and stuff. I sat up at that point. However, as we're talking now, I would actually stand up and sort of just pop my hat back on my head, I think, and then at that point I gesture over towards Nemi, and if I can time this right, I don't know where we are on the times,
right.
but if possible, I would like to be sweeping my hand along, like indicating Nemi, and then as I'm gesturing towards Kaeranis, that's when the landslide
precisely
starts.
When it would be happening. So you're bang on the money. And I should note, by the way, this landslide is coming in your direction as well. Not like immediate within like 5 seconds, but maybe within 10 to 15. The Hlen around, like the humans in his entourage, would like gasp, and a few of them look terrified. But as you are saying this, two things happen. One, Toreth Talrun would look back to you and say seriously,
"If failure is my destiny, then I embrace it. I have my orders to bring back the body of the false prophet."
But as he is saying this, you would hear another voice, a human voice. Yell from a little ways behind you, "The red moon rises! Execute their will!" And you hear footsteps rushing towards you as a sizzling noise comes through the air.
And at that point, I will take advantage of my 2 points in reflex to swirl around to face this oncoming threat. And I know I do have a point in intelligence, despite how I act. Griselda is intelligent; she's just not mature
very smart.
at all.
Me?
But yes, so I know. I don't know precisely what sort of weapon they're using. I don't have the sensory to see the energy spears from the ones Nemi's fighting, but I can gather from the sound of sizzling and the glowing weapons, the sling stones and stuff that's been flying around, that red light equals danger. So I am anticipating and like I know this is going to hurt. I am doing this intentionally. And as the paired action for Mimisbrunner, I would like to spin around and grab the shaft of the energy spear with my bare hand, and with my one might, haul on it and headbutt the guy in the face. He's probably wearing a helmet, so I'm probably going to hurt myself more than him. But I am going to do that.
And as you do so, the energy lance is sizzling towards your chest. And catching it with your hand is unbelievably painful. It's like a cold
I do also
burn.
Yeah, I did absolutely anticipate that. Because the paired action for Mimisbrunner is to, like, well, make a physical self-sacrifice, but it does say in the bullet point that it doesn't need to be self-inflicted, just willingly endured. So I am deliberately burning my hand, yanking the spear aside, and also deliberately smashing my head into this guy's forehead.
Now, as she does so, boom, does she have a resilience stat?
+1.
Oh, thank fuck.
So this will it will hurt. But,
so she's not going to knock herself out on his helmet. But that said, winking lights in front of her face, and she is thrown down onto her back. As her vision is like completely blurry at the moment. Besides the sizzling red of the energy lance brought to bear over her head. What are you going to be getting out of Mimisbrunner?
Yeah. So, first of all, I would like to know if there is anything that I can see that would actually convince
no, Torith Tarun. Yeah.
Torith Tarun, that's it, yeah. That I would actually be able to convince him that his family would be more disappointed in him for his lack of ability to critically think about the situation rather than just blindly following orders. Is it possible for me to convince him of that?
Okay.
Somehow. Is what I'm hoping.
That's what you are looking for. In that case, the answer to that would be definitively 100% yes.
Okay.
Now, the additional thing that I will add to this here, the Gwender are intensely hierarchical. They are ambitious, calculating creatures whose emotions are incredibly minimal. They are very logically oriented, but again, very hierarchical. As you might imagine, they don't rise through that hierarchy by accident, however.
Right. Okay. As I am just lying on the ground with this spear, can I say that I managed to hold on to it while, like, it's still pointed at my head, but, like, can I still have my hand around it?
I'm okay with that.
Still sizzling my fingers away. But yeah, as this is happening, I'm just clenching my fist on this spear, and I glare up at the guy holding it and stare directly into his eyes and just say to him, you know, you people are really starting to bug me. And as I'm saying this, let me see. Just saying this through gritted teeth, really. White knuckle grip on the spear that's burning my fingers. That is the paired action for Great and Terrible. So it's not like a sudden change, but every, I don't know, few seconds or something, I'm gaining like an inch or two in height.
Yeah.
As I start to grow bigger.
And what's going to be your primal force that's going to be starting to build around you?
I have 2 perks, a compound perk in this.
Sick.
Which is allows me to replace the destructive primal force with toad force or toad power instead. So everyone around me starts to get spontaneously appearing toad-like features. Some of them might get slimy skin, some of them might get warts, some might have I don't know, bulbous bellies or something after a long enough time spent near me. And if I can grapple someone for a low duration, then they just fully turn into a toad.
Absolutely. Speaking of grappling someone, you are technically doing that.
Well, if you want to count it as that, I'm not going to complain. But yeah, so the main thing is that I'm just getting angry at them, and they can see me getting bigger. This also does boost my physical stuff as well, just the size increase. So hopefully it'll help me survive a landslide.
Indeed. And as you are swelling in power and your toad force is rippling out around you, it's great. You would also at the same time feel the captain pushing the lance towards your face. Your enhanced strength is helping you keep it at bay, even though your hand is at this point completely crisped. And you would feel like the cold heat of it burning against your cheek. But also, this is a magic weapon, and Great and Terrible does give explicit magical protection.
Oh yeah, that is
from enemy magics.
Yep. And so because of that, you would feel it kind of like grinding up against your magical protection, almost like not like giving off a shower of sparks, but giving off like bright magical phosphorescence as your defensive power and its offensive power meet. Now, as this is happening, however, the landslide impacts. And Kaeranis, riding, we will say generously, your landslide downhill, as it reaches the enemy, what are you doing?
He's still, I assume, tumbling.
Yeah, tumbling, but like running a few steps, then going down, then coming up again. Oh, I got him, and then going down again.
Once he gets close, and as the landslide is hitting the enemy, he would like to go in with his bastard sword and shield that is, I'm sure, is broken off quite a bit, but he's been trying to maintain it. And he is just going right in. He's going to jump off one of the rocks and go in with a bash to start the first one, and then swing it in hard. He's loose right now. He's still feeling dry. So.
And at the same time, there would be spears slamming into him from every direction. There would be like a captain with an energy lance leaps in and strikes him in the chest. Kaeranis is at this point not feeling pain, like period.
Yeah.
However, as this captain plunges the energy lance into Kaeranis' chest, normally enough to like fall someone, his reactions to this.
Reactions to the lance coming in. He's not feeling the pain, so he's just kind of like sees it go in, and he's just reaching right out. He is. Oh no, sorry, shield arm, because he can still have the shield up, and he's still gonna go in with his hand, and he's gonna grab him, and just kind of chuck him to the side.
back into the landslide. Is he going to hop off the landslide? It's like slowing down at this point, but is he like gonna get in among people?
Yeah, he's going right in, and as he's like jumping down too, he's gonna go in, kind of has to lift his arm to get the shield past there. He's gonna grab that endless tankard again.
Yep.
He's going for his second drink.
And as he downs...
As I'm sure he's still getting hit.
Yeah, exactly. Completely being attacked on all sides as he is doing so. And yet at the same time, Griselda, the landslide has swept the captain off of you.
Two reflex.
Yeah.
As I see the stones coming, can I, because I am growing still, reach up enough to grab, ideally his face, but his arm at least or something, and cling onto him, and I want both of us to be buried under the rocks.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, that makes sense. This is like, there's some rocks, but it is mostly like loamy earth. You know, like a big shift of soil. And as this is covering you, you feel the captain getting much smaller as his helmet pops off.
Nice.
What would Griselda do once buried?
Yes. So first of all, before I was buried, I also would have taken advantage of my slightly enlarged lungs to take a deep breath. And then I am going to try and hold out as long as I can underground. Well, under a very thin layer of rocks and dirt. I would still be growing, because I imagine that being pelted with rocks is not improving my mood.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, this guy is getting smaller as he turns into a toad. So, what I would like to then do is, after like, I don't know, several seconds or so have passed, maybe a bit longer, the rocks on top of me would already be kind of unstable because, like, I'm constantly growing.
Yeah, it's mostly soil as well.
Yeah. So I would sort of like twist onto my side at first to give myself better leverage, and then using my arm to push myself up, I would aim to sort of like spring up out of the rocks.
Yep.
And I would like to hold up the captain towards the dragon, and I would just shout. Unfortunately, I don't have my staff on me because it was buried under rocks or something. But I would just shout with my enlarged lungs, Toreth Tarun. I can turn people into fucking frogs. And I'm pretty sure you could probably break out of my magic after a few seconds. But you know what? When I'm this size, I don't need a few bloody seconds. And then I crush the frog that's in my hand. Crush it.
And
squish.
As you do so, you can see that Toreth Tarun, in the seconds that you've been out of his sight, has re-entered his draconic form, and he is hovering just above the landslide, as you can hear Kaeranis laughing and brawling next to you in the process. And as Toreth Tarun like looms over you, you would hear him respond with again just like a rush in his draconic form. His verbiage is so powerful as it rushes out, and he would say,
"Flen may not threaten the Gwender."
As you can see, he begins to gleam in his head as a great resplendence begins to charge in his sickle-shaped skull.
Oh, that's bad.
I reach into my pocket, and I would like to pull out my crystal ball.
Yep.
In my burnt hand.
Yep.
Which is little more than a blackened ashen husk at this point. And I stare into the orbiculum, and I pitch that this dragon. So I get a vision. What I do is I hold the thing up, like it's a magnifying glass or something, closing one eye in front of my, and where in reality this thing's building up with the light in his mouth. When I hold the crystal ball over my eye and look at him, I don't see the build-up. I see his mouth. Well, first of all, I see a flash of light. But rather than incinerating everyone around me, the aftermath of this flash of light is the dragon probably shaking his head a bit and making some sort of pained noise, a shriek or scream.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you. I got a knock at my door. I'm so sorry to interrupt the dramatic scene.
I was gonna have him say hi, but then he started fussing, so
Hey, you gotta be good.
never mind.
Come on, baby. Someone needed a kiss after a very unhappy wake-up. So sorry.
Oh no.
Terribly sorry. Carry on.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so like I said, actually I should also mention the greybeard thing does explicitly state that your gear grows alongside you during Great and Terrible. So yeah. Anyway, pitching, looking through this, big flash of light, and when it clears, the dragon's mouth is torn to shreds, blood dripping out of it, and shards of glass embedded in its mouth and tongue and throat. And then I fling the crystal ball at it.
Oof. Christ.
At its mouth.
Where am I going with this?
But yeah, so I will also mention with Orbiculum that it does say that I sustain intense, unavoidable magic damage, scaling in deadliness on how beneficial the pitch is to themselves and their allies. And I will mention that not being incinerated by a moon laser would be very beneficial.
Pretty beneficial. Well, before I get to that, we got to check in with two people. One, Kaeranis, then we're going to do a big Nemi catch-up. Reason being, Kaeranis, as you leap in among the soldiers around, we're going to go very, very fast. Body on your left, shield trying to shield bash you in the face. What do you do?
I'm gonna meet the shield with my shield. Then I'm actually going to dispel that shield.
Yep.
And pull his down and come in with the bastard sword.
Yep.
The pierce. As I come back out to ready to the next one, hand going down to grab the longest messer on my side.
Yep. Absolutely.
Dual wielding that.
And as you are going in for the next stroke, you have literally 3 spears sticking out of you on your right side with their wielders not long after. So as you're sweeping back around, your right side has men trying to jam their spears in deeper and do some sort of damage to you.
All right. In his drunken state, what he's going to do, feeling them on his back, he's actually going to. He's just going to wildly spin.
Yeah.
Blades out, wildly spin, intending to throw these guys off, but also kind of using them as a weapon as well, and trying to like lean his shoulder into.
As he does so and gives off the spin, he can see it, like the next thing that comes into his view is a group of maybe 5 who have been wildly disrupted by the landslide, but are trying to load their slings again. They're all 5 paces away.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah. All right. What he's gonna do here is he's rushing in at them. He's going to throw the knife at the farthest to the left one, and then kind of ducking down, almost expecting to get hit a little bit, but still kind of, very muscle memory, ducking down as he rushes in for a wide sweep at the legs on the far right one.
Yep. And as he does so, like a sling pings off of him as well, but he doesn't even feel it as he takes the one on the far right of the group. From there, what is he doing?
From there, he's coming up. He's going to take the legs of this one, and then he wants to just, blades kind of like extended straight out, swing up and around. He's gonna try to get the neck of the next one.
Yep.
And he's not even expecting the blade to get it. He's coming in with a right to the face. Yeah. Almost curling him around.
Slamming into this next. There's one just past the one that he has just downed. What is he doing?
Next, he is going to. It's been a while since Kaeranis has tackled someone, so he's going to tackle over the
Let's
next
change
one,
that.
still holding his blade. Yeah. But this isn't going to be a full tackle. This is going to be he's like grabbing the collar of this guy and almost just like boarding him down so he can slash the next one.
Yep. And as the next one goes down, he sees in front of him through his drunken stupor, he would see Griselda up atop the landslide, staring down the massive dragon gently hovering in the air overhead. He can see the dragon's head beginning to glow.
He's still quite drunk, so he's going to see this and he's going to... Fuck him up, Griselda! There's still quite a few guys around him, right? Yeah. What do I do for here? There's something I want to pull here.
Here, I'll give you a moment to consider. I can check back in with you after checking in with Nemi.
Perfect.
Nemi. Smash goes that next disc.
Yep.
Down you go.
Got sent a little bit away.
This lands you among their slingers, as mentioned, who are at this point pretty much routing. This was when you did the get out of here.
Yep. Garen thinks still active. Shield wall still active over the mouth of the cave. All right. Just if I have this correctly, there is still one of those red floating things at the northern group that was coming down the hill.
Yes, and also part of that southern contingent that was coming up towards you, they also have one, but neither of those discs are close enough yet to be super relevant.
Okay. That's all right, because Nemi has extensively thrown her bastard swords to great effect before.
Yes.
She is going to take the one she's wielding and going to throw it at the one that is to the north.
God.
To take it out.
This mission's unofficial title is Nemi Throws Things.
Yes. Hey, forget unofficial. That could just be the title.
It's perfect.
When you're sane, you don't have a lot of ranged options, so you just create opportunities. All right. The next thing she wants to do is she's gonna immediately take out her grapple gun, aim at the Geza that she left in the clearing,
that's so cool.
Stuck into the ground.
Yeah.
Fire at that, hook onto it, and is going to use that to pull herself to it using the boosted acrobatics or agility.
That's such a good idea.
To swing herself around. I can't take all the credit. Lee helped me come up with that idea. To swing herself around, giving her more momentum to completely get away from the group that she's fighting.
Yeah.
And I want to slingshot her towards the right flank, or it would be the left flank that was coming in. That's probably at this point closer to the mouth of the cave.
Exactly right. Okay, you're bang on the money. And also, the best part about that is you planted that Geza in the ground with 5 might. So yeah, it totally would be something that you could do that. That's such a freaking cool idea. And as she is swinging herself about with her grapple gun, flinging herself out, she lands just shy of the cleft as her shield wall right there is starting to falter. It is defending all of the Dramorites around the entry to the cleft as that left flank is literally running up on top of it. At this point, Kaeranis' shield wall is well down. It's been down for a little while. They are getting on top.
Of course.
They are trying to get around the shields. You hear them charging and yelling, and also they have both of their captains and both of their discs intact.
Yep. So she is going to do 2 things at once. Putting the grapple gun away, same motion, taking out Banner, planting it into the ground, summoning her force. These are some of the men from her rebellion in her homeland. Just gonna go, all right, again, I'm bringing you guys out to protect the innocent. Smashing it down. She goes, but this time, you need better arms and armor than before, like normal. She's gonna activate to arms. She's gonna give them really great plate armor.
Yep.
Tower shields, and heavy crossbows, along with long swords. Also, not going to activate the perk onto arms, because she also wants to give tower shields to everyone who's still within her Tsudo.
Yep.
So that they can just plant them and use them as a barrier against all of those munitions still probably coming in.
Yep, especially given that her shield wall is soon to drop.
Yep.
And as she does so, her soldiers let out a cry of approval and immediately raise their crossbows to fire upon the left flank that's coming in on top of the shield wall.
How far away are those two floating red
At this
objects?
point, like 35 running paces from Nemi.
Okay, she's going to take out her second bastard sword. Still has the kite shield in her other hand, and it's going to start. It's just taking off, running at the left flank.
Yep. And as she is doing so, she can already see those shields are blocking incoming heavy crossbow bolts. And also the shield wall, while it is being beleaguered and the enemy soldiers are starting to get up on top of it, her well-timed tower shields are reinforcing it just enough that as she is rushing, she can see the two captains that are in this group, each of which conjure forth one of those energy lances. There is one other thing that she notices. The black sun up above flickers red for a moment.
Crud. All right.
The black sun that's partly covered by clouds.
Quite.
Flickers red. The last time that happened, somebody got back up from the dead, correct?
That wasn't even the black sun. That was one of the discs. That was even a lesser
That's
power.
terrifying. Okay. Yeah, that's horrible. When she has the range, hopefully before getting to the captains, she's going to pull the same move she did before, and she's going to leap up at one of those red objects in the sky, take it out with the bastard sword, hopefully landing in the middle of that charging force.
As she leaps and strikes, shattering another one again, cleaving through its defenses in the way that she's now familiar, and landing, she would land well behind the other force in this case, because she would have to have a high arc to get past it.
It would high arc.
But she would hear a yell of alarm from her soldiers. Parnassus! Behind you!
Spin around, shield at the ready.
And she can see that where there were 2 captains, now there are 6. 4 more having seemingly materialized in the red flash of the sun, and worst of all, they are between her and the cleft, and their attention isn't on her.
Gonna change that. Immediately, the arm holding the shield, put the bastard sword in it, take out revolver, going to attempt to shoot one or more of the captains in rapid succession with 2 skill. From a short distance.
Yeah, this is just like, it's not a fan because you can't do that, but you can do like a quick cockfire.
Yep.
And you can see that
It's a reflex.
It's it's hitting them, it's dropping them in several cases. And emptying the entire thing, you've brought 3 to the ground. But immediately, the second disc starts to work on resurrecting them, and the other 3 are on top of the shield wall and are ripping their way through as the shield wall is dropping. It's coming to its natural duration end. And their energy weapons are sizzling through the tower shields. Though, your crossbowmen, as they are charging in, given that the disc seems to be focusing its attention on resurrecting, it can't block bolts. So they are still doing some damage, at least to the rank and file who aren't as well armored.
All right. given that I took 3 of them out with that, and I really can't have them getting back up because Nemi isn't gonna be able to take that on. She's gonna drop the revolver, take the bastard sword, leap up, and shatter that last remaining red disc in the air.
With another great jump, cleaving through defenses, it cracks. And she shatters this last one, in relevant range for now, at the very least. And as she lands, this would put her right among the energy spear-wielding captains. She can hear the cries of the Dramorites as they are being felled by the merciless strokes of these energy strikes.
Is Garen Thinks still active?
Garen Thinks has dropped.
Garen Thinks has dropped. Cool. Nemi's going... They're still not focused on her. They're focused on the Dramorites.
They are completely focused on getting in here.
Cool. Going to immediately go up to the closest one and cut him in half around the middle. Just boom.
And with a full Nemi swing, even his heavy plate cannot endure this. She rips it. It's a testament to his armor that she doesn't go all the way through. She goes through one half, like part of the armor, his midsection, passes the spine, and then like it gives up the ghost. But as he goes like kind of like flopping to the ground, immediate follow-ups from her. She can see one of the captains has kicked aside the last of the Dramorites that stands in front of the cleft and is literally like about to rush in.
Want to jump at him using the half kite, the kite shield.
Yeah.
And I want to, because I am wielding the bastard sword still. I want to hit him into the outer wall, like the entrance wall, as hard as I can, and basically hoping to just splatter him with blunt force trauma against the wall.
And as she does so, slamming into him, he is slammed into the wall at substantial force, but he doesn't go down like a sack of bricks. He actually is able to tank this decently well. Less able, however, is he to protect himself from the cat that leaps on his head.
Yes.
At the same time as this happens, however, that last of the 3 captains you hadn't already dropped jams his energy lance into Nemi's left side, given that she has completely opened herself up doing this massive one. And unlike the previous strikes, this one doesn't make the mistake of pulling it out. There's just the energy lance drives into Nemi's side and it stays there. Immediate actions from her. At the moment, the pain is completely tolerable.
Okay. Is he within arm's reach at this point?
Yes, though it would be kind of a little behind her and to the left.
So within arm's reach, obviously within bastard sword distance.
Yep.
Because unfortunately for him, he left it in, meaning he didn't pull away. Going to cleave backwards at him with the bastard sword. Trying to hit like center mass so that he can't just like duck under it, and making sure that a lot of the blade is on the other side of his body so that he can't just like immediately hop back real quick. Like
Exactly.
2 reflex trying to do this real quick.
Is this, because of that, is this going to be a full spin in order to do this? Because just like a reach back will have way less oomph.
Yeah, full spin. It's more important to take him out.
And as she spins about in place, hacking deep into him and dropping him as she goes through pauldron, collarbone, and several ribs. He slides off of her sword as the remainder of the rank and file here are starting to like pull back in fear. As they do so, however, she would realize something. They are pulling back in fear, but aren't looking at her.
Probably that's when gonna look up at the at what they're looking at.
Yep. Down the hill.
Actually, I don't think she would. I think she would make sure that last captain is dead first.
Yep.
Because he's right behind.
As she's finishing him off with the small orange tabby cat having done a serious number on the man's throat, she would hear a soft voice of one of her soldiers.
Parnassus? What is that?
Yeah.
and looking.
Similarly looks up to see the dragon.
Yeah, she's looking downhill towards the dragon, which is kind of hovering close to her level, and she sees it gleaming, blindingly, brilliantly red.
Oh, hell. Is it facing her direction or facing away?
Oh, yeah. It's facing her direction, but it seems to be mostly facing, like, generally forward, which she happens to be in.
Okay. How many of the Dremorites are left?
Is she gonna take stock?
I don't think so. I think she is going to go into the mouth of the cave.
Yep.
Like, immediately step back into it, plant her feet, and, like, just put her shield at the entrance of it.
She would feel the fear rippling off of her own soldiers.
Yep. She would say, pile in and shields up.
And as they are dropping their crossbows and retreating, trying to bring up their shields, Kaeranis, let's jump back to you now that we've caught up in time before we go back to Griselda.
I know exactly what Kaeranis wants to do here. He, after he just said that to Griselda, he's kind of in his drunken state, come to the realization, oh, shit, maybe I should help. And he grabs one of the guys next to him on the left and one of the guys next to him on the right, and he's going to slam their helmets together.
Yeah.
And that's going to initiate a shield wall.
Oh,
But he
that's
wants
sick.
to use the perk of the oval dual ring,
Yeah.
as well as the knockback. He wants to make him face inward, and the ring is going to wrap around the dragon.
Oh, shit. That's an idea.
He's not going to hurt it. He doesn't expect to hurt it. He just wants to piss it off.
And of note, Griselda, I finally can give you a response to your action, but finish up your thing first.
Before you do, the self-inflicted damage thing. While you were doing other stuff with other people, I had to think about how that could manifest, and I would like to suggest that the burn, like I said earlier, my hand is basically a blackened claw at this point. So I would like to suggest that as I throw the ball, like a flash of heat burns through my arm, and the entire rest of my arm up to my shoulder also gets burnt to like not just third degree, literally like ash, and then my whole arm sort of just crumbles away.
That's beautifully said, and is quite
That's
in
so
line
cool.
with what I was going to suggest as well. And
Nice.
as she is throwing, I'm going to make 2 adaptations to your pitch. 1, she does not see it bleed. That's 1 adaptation.
Okay.
But 2, she would see the shield wall in her vision. And because of that, as she throws the orb, it reaches Torith Talrun just after, or like just before the shield wall encircles the Great Gwender, and it fires. Its great moonbeam enters the orbiculum and refracts everywhere. It disco balls the death beam and makes dozens and dozens of much weaker death beams that pepper
Nice.
the mountainside. Now, in many, especially I've seen this in anime, giant death lasers make like an explosion where they hit. I'm thinking especially Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, one that I actually know pretty well. You know you know the one, the giant warrior when it does the beam thing, right? Imagine like 80 or 90 miniature but still enough to wipe out 6 people where they stand versions of that, peppering the entirety of the mountainside. Now, Griselda is spared it purely because of the shield wall. Between the shield wall, her own defenses from Great and Terrible, which are magic defenses, and also the fact that she was the one who pitched the vision. Even though several of these streak past her, their proximity singes her skin with that cold heat.
Burn up the beard?
She remains standing. However, the shield wall is Swiss cheesed. It is completely torn to ribbons, as though it were made of paper. Kaeranis is fortunately a little off to the side. He is not in the shotgun blast of this death beam. Nemi, on the other hand, eats one of them straight on.
Oh!
And this would be a wild. She has her shield up. She is braced. She has everything going. And even with all of that, she is on the ground. She cannot feel her left arm. She cannot hear anything. Her eyes are swimming with a red light. We'll begin with Nemi. What would she do?
Immediately fishes out her star crystal and palms it, puts it in her mouth.
And as she is doing so, she hears a distant, quiet voice.
Are you all right? Are you all right?
I'm not dead.
And
That's pretty good.
you can see that as her vision kind of clears, she sees the blonde head of Dermot himself. He looks... He's not terrified, not by any means, but he has this profound... How to describe this? He has this Oppenheimer stare in his eyes as he looks at her. And he says, again, his voice swimming to her, as though from a great distance,
I must give myself up. They can resurrect the dead. I cannot allow so many to die at my behalf.
So I'm gonna... Nemi is going to grab him with her the hand. You said it was the left hand that she can't feel, like
Yep.
the left arm. She's going to try to grab him with that. Is it there?
it's not.
Ooh.
Evis should be in the room too. Just
Yes, he is.
Yep. Yeah.
Grabs him with the right hand. You know, speaking around the star crystal. Evis, he's not to leave the cave.
And you hear a shaky voice.
Yeah, I know.
And you see Dermot roughly pulled away. And you hear him cry, "No!" And you hear Evis respond with, "Shut up."
Sounds like
You're
Evis.
being rescued, whether you like
yeah.
it or not, kid.
yeah.
And
Nemi is gonna attempt to sit up.
she can get up. Even with the star crystals healing, her left arm is gone. But
Yep.
she can start to feel like life through the rest of her. She's gone from as though she had just been like put under anesthetic to being able to get on her feet. And as she does so,
Which
she
does
sees
slowly.
the utter destruction of the hillside. It's just laid waste, and more notably, besides the two that were sent in here, all of the Dramorites are dead, all of her bannermen are dead.
I feel like she just kind of numbly walks to the mouth of the cave and just falls against the side of the cave. Her right side, not the left, because she's just not even looking at it. She knows she doesn't have an arm at the moment. And she's just letting the star crystal work, and she looks out to see if Kaeranis is still there, if Griselda is still there.
And Kaeranis and Griselda would see that all of the Hlen that were in this force, that were like in this vicinity nearby, all of them are in full genuflect on the ground, dropping their arms and armor, facing towards Torith Tarun. And you can see that the shield wall crumbles away to nothing as the glass orb, shattered to complete kingdom come has been so thoroughly pulverized that there's like a wisp of sparkly glass shards still in midair as though it were dust. That said, Torith Tarun is no longer gleaming. And as his, like, the moon energy that he produced is starting to tone down, his voice would emanate again as he re-enters human form. Still hovering, but now starting to descend to land on the landslide just across from Griselda. As she feels his voice, she is also, like, shaky on her feet, though still in great and terrible, which would actually put her a little taller than him, even in his, like, larger than human form. As he would say,
Enough. I can heal him. I can resurrect his followers. I can heal you. No one needs to die. None besides the false prophet. I need his body.
Oh, Tarun. I shake my head sadly and I step closer to him. How far away is he, by the way?
for Griselda's enhanced height, maybe 10 paces.
Okay, cool. Yeah, just shaking my head sadly, I start walking towards him, and slowly. And after taking like a step or two, I pause, glance down at my incinerated arm, and just be like, oh, right. And then I use my right hand to reach across awkwardly into one of the left pockets on the side of my dress, pull out my bubble pipe, and stick it in my mouth. After having tried and failed to use my arm that wasn't there to take it out.
Two left arms
knows
were
the feeling.
lost that day.
I blow bubbles. I will say I blow like quite a stream of bubbles. And the pipe does have like a sort of calming effect, I believe. Let me see what the exact wording of that is. Yeah, calming effect. So yes, I am using this to sort of counteract the, you know, enormous pain in my shoulder from having an arm incinerated.
It's kind of like an iciness more than a burn.
Yeah,
and so
okay.
it's like a pain that in Great and Terrible she can withstand, but the bringing the pipe in is going to be very important as that pain builds.
Yeah, cool. Well, anyway, as I'm doing that, I keep walking towards him, and I just say as I'm approaching, listen, I know a thing or two about you, Gwender. You're young for one of your kind, low on the totem pole. That's why you get sent out for dirty jobs like this, unglamorous work, sent to kill a human. That must hit your pride. But, you know, in your circles, merely obeying orders isn't gonna get you anywhere. You need to show strength. You need to show a willingness to stand up for your own pride. If you keep acting like a little lapdog, you'll never be the alpha of your pack. And then I blow some bubbles towards him, which I would like to have the bubbles. Obviously, they're only bubbles. There's only so much you can do.
Sure.
I'm imagining them being sort of like little balloon animal type things.
Yeah.
But I would like to see them take the rough shape of like dogs or wolves or something, with a sort of pack of them running around, and then one little small limping one at the back. And I just want them to sort of move past him,
and
as I'm continuing to walk closer.
As Griselda's doing so, Nemi is watching this from very far away. She can't hear any of it and only can vaguely see it, even though I will note Torith Tarun stands out wildly, even in his human form, brilliantly red and large. Kaeranis, you are right next to this, like lower because they're standing on the landslide and you're like off to the side of it. all of the soldiers are in this again full genuflect towards Torith Tarun. You see him enter human form. You hear these words being exchanged. Kaeranis is still fucking drunk. What does he want to do?
I know exactly what he's going to do in his drunken state. He is drunk and high on adrenaline still, even after.
Yep.
So, what he's going to do is he's going to whistle really loudly. I wish I could do that.
Yep.
I can't
That's
display it, actually. But for Phaenix to come. In a split second, he wants to then pull his ear spoon.
Yep.
Ready and up. And he's going to huck it at the dragon, who is now turned into a human. As he also then goes right into a Gareth thing, slamming on his chest, he's pulling his sword and Longest Messer again. And he is continuing the Gareth things by bonking on these guys' heads, trying to get their aggro with the perk.
And as he whistles and brings out the ear spoon, would you mind briefly describing the ear spoon's power?
Yeah. Ear spoon, medium length, lug spear. Yeah. But really, he's just hucking it, trying to get his attention.
Yep.
Essentially.
It's a stamina drain when unhit, but yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Not really being
And
used for its
as
effect here.
the spear is thrown, you can see that it halts in perfect midair next to Torith Tarun, and both Griselda and Kaeranis would see Torith Tarun just slowly turn his head towards Kaeranis as Kaeranis is slamming the heads of the worshipful Hlen. And Kaeranis would, for the first time, feel his voice rush over him. And the voice would say one word, and it would be a word that Kaeranis's... What is his will stat?
His will is 1+, I believe.
That's what I thought it
Yes.
was. Kaeranis's one will stat will not be able to resist, at least not yet. And that is...
Bow.
Oh. Okay. All right. I can still attempt a defiance for this, though.
Eventually. Because you need to let the
crap.
effect sit.
Makes sense. Yep. Got it. That sucks. He's gonna have to.
And as he is paused and is forced into kind of a weird stooping sort of extension, Torith Tarun would turn back to face Griselda and would say,
A martyr cannot be so if no one knows of his death. There are only so many witnesses.
Am I close enough to be in touching range yet?
you are not, because as you tried to get closer, you literally are pressing up against an invisible force of radiance that prevents you from getting closer to him, even with your protections.
I see. Okay. In that case...
Oh, damn it, I threw the wrong item.
Okay, I'm not touching him, so I cannot use my amazing toad transformation power.
Indeed.
But I am still close to him.
Yep.
And therefore the lesser effect of just being near me applies. So, as he says this to me about we
About
can't win or
Mars,
whatever.
yes.
Yeah. So, I just nod sagely, stroke my beard, well, I guess I let go of my pipe, just hold it between my teeth, stroke my beard sagely, and then through the stem of my pipe, I just say, "Is that a zit?" and point at the end of his nose, where a wart appears.
That's so cool.
Yes.
And
I'm just imagining him. I don't know if he will. He probably has more
yeah,
self-control
do
than
you
this.
like the?
But I'm just imagining him
Not
going
quite.
cross-eyed looking.
the cross-eyed. And as this happens, there's a pause. You would hear hoofbeats that would slow as Phaenix bows too.
No.
And
Phaenix is not allowed to bow.
Torith Tarun would ripple out his voice. There's an intensity to it that wasn't there before, as Griselda feels, "Never before have I heard tell of a Hlen enduring the light of the moon. Never before have I heard tell of a Hlen who dared hurl iron. And now a Hlen lays this strange, diminutive curse upon me. Never have I heard it."
You'll be hearing it a lot more if you kill this guy. Like I said, martyrs are a good story. Easy way to rile up the people against their betters.
Kaeranis, would you like to attempt a defiance?
Most definitely. Though he himself was already pretty perturbed by having to bow with his kind of hatred for royalty after his kingdom in his mind fell apart. But being a good soldier, his body almost just kind of like goes into a bang, but then he hears the hoof beats stop. Phaenix is not allowed to bow. Phaenix is where Kaeranis had got all his confidence as a soldier, as squired, going into knighthood. Phaenix will never bow. And he starts to work his way up as he looks towards Phaenix. "Don't you do it." And he's going to work his way up. And I'm hoping Phaenix doesn't come. But either way, he's working his way over to Phaenix.
Head twists. You can see veins bulging on his neck. He takes a few staggering steps forwards. And then gets to Kaeranis' side. You can see that the worshipful Hlen around you are actually turning to looking terrified.
He's going to... Can I get enough motion to put my hand on top of Phaenix?
Yeah.
Or just like against Phaenix? Perfect. Boy, remember, we are warriors. And we are not slaves to this feudalism. We are working. As he starts to work his way up.
And as Kaeranis pulls himself to his feet and Phaenix's head raises, Griselda would for the first time see Torith Tarun move swiftly. His head turns back to Griselda. He starts to rise into the air as his body begins to transform back into the draconic form. It's as though it becomes a bright white heat haze. And as he does so, his voice ripples out. Oh, yeah, you have a thing first?
As he transforms, I am betting that this strange moon energy around him is in a state of flux and therefore weaker. So I punch the air in front of me, and I want to try and break through the barrier, and I would like to grab his tail as it appears.
Ooh. Okay. I think I know what you want to do with it.
Well, at the moment, I just want to hold on tight, but...
And because of this, As Kaeranis looks up, the great dragon transforms. Griselda grabs...
Well...
Yep. Is transforming.
Oh, right, yeah. No, sorry, go ahead. To the dragon, yes.
Griselda grabs the tail and is almost immediately, almost like a droplet of water is flicked off of the tail. And she goes tumbling out across the meadow. However, you would also see a singular toad drop from the dragon's tail where once there had been like a beautiful little crystalline spike.
Oh. Nice. Victory.
And as Griselda slams into the earth, completely wildly disorienting her, that would end great and terrible.
Okay, yeah.
And
yeah. So, let me just quickly check. Yeah. Okay. So. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. No, there's no special thing that I need to do when it ends. Just yeah. Start shrinking down, I guess.
And Kaeranis, looking towards the great dragon as it kind of turns its attention towards him, undulating gorgeously in the air with its static spaceship-like wings on either side. It would bear down, look down towards him. Its voice would ripple out like a great wind. It would like push his hair back. It would tousle Phaenix's mane. And as it does so, you would hear the line,
"You lead your pack. I shall someday lead mine."
You have to earn their trust, or they gotta rob your pockets like that one there. Yeah, you beat him, but you know, you get it.
and
He's still kind of drunk, so he's just kind of like going into. He's just already getting a little giddy.
And then, like a hypersonic jet, it would move, literally making a sonic boom in the air. It goes so fast. It stops on a dime, going from over the meadow to right in front of Nemi, as fast as clapping. And as the dragon zooms into her view, getting right up close to her, her leaning against the edge of the cliff, its voice ripples out.
"Last chance, Prophet. I can bring them back. Will you surrender? Or will you live with your failure?"
Is this loud enough for anyone else to hear?
This is directed.
Dumb.
And so Nemi hears it, and so does Dermot, and those who are in the room beyond. You hear behind you, and you hear Evis saying, "Shut up."
Good boy, Evis. As Nemi writes herself. I don't know what was said down there. I know the Gwender are not used to mere humans standing up to them or their will. I do know that this is not a job that they would have given to anyone of higher station. This was a test. Do you really think that the test was if you could wipe out a single human? Is that really something that would require one of your kind? That seems wholly beneath you.
And the great Gwender begins to undulate up into the air. And as it does so,
follows.
Its voice booms out across the entirety of the meadow, reaching all of you, including Griselda, who I'm guessing might be getting to her feet, or may just be laying back with her pipe, which is still in her teeth.
I would say that I would probably be trying to push myself up to my feet, somewhat shakily, but I know, I didn't hear that conversation, I know, but I know that he is still trying to get the guy, and I have something that I need to say to the others, so I can't just lie around, unfortunately.
Yep.
So I will be trying
Unfortunately,
to get
her hat is gone.
Fair
And
enough.
her staff is long gone too.
Oh yeah, buried ages ago.
Yeah. But as she is doing so, the great Gwender rises up above the valley as his worshippers literally are like crawling backwards away, shocked and terrified. And his voice echoes down across the entirety of the mountainside, such that all of you can hear, and all of you feel like a great rush of wind from above.
So I am tested. We shall see if I have passed.
Griselda, you had a thing you want to try to say.
Yeah.
What's your vitality?
Only one.
Yep.
And I am used to, unfortunately, relying on my staff for this.
Mm-hmm.
But I will just take in a deep breath and then shout as loud as I can up to him. You said there need to be witnesses for a martyrdom. Count these Hlen that still live and tell me there are no witnesses.
And as he rises high into the air, you would feel a command ripple from him.
I release you.
And the Hlen, immediately, all of their livery goes from red to brown. You see them looking around, touching their heads, looking concerned, and staring up to the sky. There are no more captains still living. You guys killed all of them.
Nemi killed all.
Oh, Kaeranis got a few too.
Pretty much, yeah.
And the Gwender climbs, and there's a sonic boom, and it streaks across the sky. And you all feel your badges ping.
Nice.
Nice.
Final actions, beginning with Griselda. She is in earshot of Kaeranis.
Yeah. Turn to look at Kaeranis. Finger gun. And I just say, good job, mate. That went smoothly.
Same to you.
I say with one arm
As-
missing. Oh, and like almost none. In fact, wait a second. Let me just quickly check. I have the pipe between my teeth. That is the only piece of my gear that I still have.
Yeah. Oh, actually,
Yeah,
I just
everything
noticed
else
something.
destroyed or lost.
I think her beard would have blown off.
Yeah, sure. We can
I was
say that
thinking we got
her
burned
beard,
off, but
Yeah.
her fake beard, is, or actually no, not let's say not completely blown off, but like it's hanging by
Hanging.
the string from one ear. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not looking slick at all.
And Kaeranis, responses from you, still tipsy but intact, next to Phaenix,
Yeah.
whose head is pushed up against yours.
Sweet. Yeah, he gives a gesture up to Griselda. Same to you. Good work. As he kind of collapses, not completely collapses, but like against Phaenix. He's kind of like putting his weight against him. As the headache is starting to come in. Oh, I don't miss this. And he's just gonna ping out.
And Nemi.
I will also. Once he does, I also ping out.
Absolutely. And Nemi, you would hear as the sonic boom goes off.
So he's gone? Can I let go?
And you can
Let me
see
just nods.
that Evis is literally like like
Real cool.
grabbing,
This
and
kid.
also at the same time, you can see that Revnus is literally like pinning Dermot's hands, like holding them with his teeth and like biting them in place so that Dermot can't fight back. The two of them have pinned him completely.
That's
This poor
awesome.
kid.
Dermot still has that 1,000-yard stare and is no longer fighting against the other two.
Nemi's gonna turn, walk back in, and like take a knee in front of him. Would be two hands, but that's not an option. Just puts her right hand on his shoulder.
Evis and Revnus ping out.
Yep. I know this is what you wanted. But nothing is gained from you giving yourself up to them.
Besides lives, you mean?
Besides lives, yes.
That's a lot.
What's lost? If you would have given yourself up, what would be lost?
I left because I promised to myself no more death in my name. I broke that promise today.
No, you actually didn't. You were forced into this, and I am sorry for that. You kept your promise. You did try. But sometimes you have to look at the bigger picture. The easier path would be to give yourself up. Because then your path ends. I don't think it was supposed to.
I cannot
Take
tell
from
that-
this.
I cannot tell that to their families, can I? Nor to my conscience. So from now I travel alone.
You do. Your disciples were willing to give themselves up for you, willing to die for you. Side note, question, sorry. There was one of his disciples that was in here with him. Is she still here?
Yep.
Oh, good.
Nemi would look over at the woman, look back at him and says, she's still here. You're not alone.
He turns to her and says, please, I will bring you back as close as I can go. Please leave. And she would look to him, tear-streaked but now stable, and she says, and let you get jumped again, you mean? What was that was said? Martyrs and witnesses. You need a witness, don't you?
Nemi kind of squeezes his shoulder and says, look, kid, I'm sorry, but you don't get the easy life. You can keep trying to take easy ways out. Or you can embrace what clearly fate has in store for you.
And I can think of no better place to end the mission.
Nice.
Whew. All right.
That was fun.
Very good, yeah.
Now, first of all, focus words. 1, long awaited. Couple pieces to that. 1, Dermot has been a problem for a long time for the families. They were waiting for an opportunity to strike. But 2, this is part of an extremely long-running plotline from back in the Legacy days.
Oh.
Nice.
So I decided to bring this piece in here based on that focus word. Second of all, cold-blooded. 1, the Gwender and their calculating nature. They're also their ability to transform from dragon to humanoid. And same too, Dermot's renouncement of his Gwender form. He sacrificed the cold blood, so to speak. Also,
nice.
reptile, Lamau.
Yeah.
Third of all, winged orb. I immediately thought of the moon and the hover discs, which has been a long established thing in Gwendrel. So between cold-blooded and winged orb, I thought of Gwendrel.
Nice.
And I was like, let's give them a proper battle here. I mean, it's a small scale one, it's a skirmish, but it's an Enclave squad. So there's only so many they can take.
I would just like to say at this point, so I didn't have anything specific in mind when I chose the focus words, because I just use a random word generator and pick a couple of words I like. But at the start of this session, when you were talking about the dragons being worshipped and that, it made me immediately think of Yu-Gi-Oh's Winged Dragon of Ra, because it has a card, a sub-type card called Winged Dragon of Ra Sphere Mode, which is a sphere and also a winged dragon.
When'd you know?
But it's also it's one of 3 Egyptian god cards. So the fact that these dragons are being worshipped as gods is funny.
Yes, quite.
But
It's great.
Quite,
Completely
yeah, it worked out quite
unintentional.
well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as you guys I'm sure determined, the Hlei Luen were the captains. They could not be reasoned with. Even if you had managed to talk down Torith Tarun, they would have kept trying to kill Dermot. So getting rid of them was essential. The 4 appearing, I remember I mentioned there were about a dozen of them. There were only 8 that were accounted for. The rest literally were there to teleport in when they were ready.
Nice.
And
I figured that as soon as you were like, "There's more," I'm like, okay."
Yeah, indeed.
Crud.
I have been running Gwendrel for about 7 years at this point. There has never been a single time someone has survived a Gwender beam. Ever. Not a single
I had a
time.
question about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I figured, just timing it out myself, that my shield wall was not off cooldown at that moment.
You are correct.
Okay. If it had been with the perks, would that have actually reflected his beam?
I was considering that, and I thought it would be a partial reflection. Their magic is too strong to just be completely neutered with that. But the fact that even with Nemi's stats, Griselda wildly diluting the power, and this being a young Gwender on his first assignment, that is the sort of damage a Gwender beam does.
Nice.
That's crazy.
Like, I had a player once describe them as the WMD of, like, Robbie Enclave missions. Like, I designed them specifically for cracked legacy characters to not be able to survive. But they don't lead with it, you know? You need to push them a lot to get them to do that. And speaking of pushing them a lot, you guys did frickin' fantastically. Not only with all of the awesome visceral brawling and tactics against the oncoming worshippers, not only with dealing with the very dangerous Hlei Luen. They are a serious frickin' threat, even just by themselves. Not only with, you obviously found the Thane stuff on the mission. Aha! Magical hover threats with super defenses. Yep, get those, Thanes. Excellent work. It's perfect. But then on top of that, the fact that you were able to do things like staggering shield walls, timing defenses, Kaeranis and Nemi taking the fight to them at like certain times after setting up defenses, using your summons and companions, all while Griselda was handling the main brunt of the negotiation, was pretty much perfectly approached. Special shout out to Griselda's Winds of Change. That is the single best Winds of Change I've ever seen. The speech was perfect.
That was amazing.
Perfect speech. And then you also did the Moon Obstruction. Could not have been better. Without that Winds of Change, I do not think the the negotiation tactic you guys were using would have worked.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was
I was stretching the whole mission. I was like, this is definitely going to get me killed. Every time I did any action, I was like, yeah, I'm about to die now, right?
yep.
But I just kept not dying. So
Yeah. Boy, did she get frickin' close though. She got wildly close.
yeah.
Funnily enough, even though Nemi was the one who face tanked the Gwender beam, she was not the closest one to dying on this mission.
I didn't think so.
That was incredible.
I was just constantly like annoying the hell out of the
Yeah.
invincible dragon god.
And the
I
wild
thought
thing too.
Kaeranis was toast.
Yeah, that's the thing, right?
When he
Yeah,
threw
yeah,
the
yeah.
ear spoon, I was like, "Oh, Kaeranis, buddy."
Yeah.
yep.
That was.
I mean,
Yeah.
when you stripped him of his self-preservation instinct, I was like, well, he's running towards a dragon with no self-preservation.
That
I
was
wonder how
perfect.
this will go.
Okay, before I get to the full character reviews, questions about the plot or calls?
Oh, no, it was great.
Marvelous.
I really like the setting. Really like the mission.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was great. Two Thanes and a
cool setting.
Greybeard. Like this was a perfect mission for that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome setup for this. If you guys want to do Gwendrell stuff, ping Captain. This Gwendrell was his third favorite setting, and he's been playing Enclave for
Nice.
12 years.
Perfect.
Awesome.
So he was the one who did a lot of stuff on this. I'm
Nice.
glad that this was a very like mechanically intensive mission, so I'm glad the calls all felt correct.
Yep.
In terms of character specifics, one, Griselda. I love this character. Like, this is wildly risky play for Reece. She's very Procopius adjacent.
Yes.
Like a risky, irreverent, cool character. It's really fun seeing you play this sort of archetype. She is also wildly original. I don't think I can name a character that feels like her.
Well, in terms of how she feels to play, I would say that I do see the comparison to Procopius definitely, because she is kind of physical in that sense, but also a little bit like how I play Hassad, with just randomly walking into danger. Like, remember the mission that you hosted with the what was it, Park? Cromney Park?
Yep.
The Tinker Trailer
Nice
one.
job
Yeah,
remembering
just
that.
like randomly walking up to the BBEG and just talking for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, she's
So,
she's really ballsy. Your Great and Terrible was phenomenally well done. Like you used the Greybeard's kit, textbook great, and made fantastic use of it. Like you used every resource you had to the point where you ended the mission with one gear piece. Like
Yes. And I believe probably everything on cooldown, because to be fair, the Greybeard does have quite long cooldowns.
I think you had winds
so,
of change.
yeah.
You had winds of change by the end.
Okay, nice.
But besides that, yeah, you had Mims Brunner was getting close, and then Great and Terrible nowhere. Yeah, literally every single thing you did Greybeard-wise was textbook amazing. The Weathered Cloak was freaking great. Imagine if you hadn't done that and you did the moonbeam across the hillside.
Yeah.
Disaster. Terrible disaster.
Horrible.
Remember how I said that the mission we did, Good Night, Sweet King, with Procopius was my favorite mission of yours I've ever seen? I think this might beat it. This is, like, incredible play from you, Reece. So I think you did genuinely amazingly.
Yeah. I will say I feel like I did better this mission than on that one. Maybe it's just because Procopius got knocked unconscious and Griselda merely lost an arm, but who knows?
Got
But yeah.
flung across the
I
landscape.
felt satisfied with my performance.
Yeah,
this
you did
time.
great. Then, Kaeranis. This was kind of a side of Kaeranis we've never seen before.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, he's a great bodyguard, and having to not only work with Nemi to synchronize defense, but then realizing, okay, I am not going to be able to hold off everything like this. I need to take the fight. The landslide thing was so sick. Your positioning in the early mission was great. Learning, like, knowing when to down the tankard and go in. Your enormous resilience was really, really helpful. Like, he ended with, like, higher functional resilience than Nemi because of how much he was committing to the endless tankard. You did a great job playing your psychological effects. That was great. The bowing scene was wonderfully dramatic. That was just beautifully done. And
Thank you.
yeah, it was classic Kaeranis goodness, and you did a great job figuring out where you needed to be.
Yeah, Yeah, thank you.
It was awesome. I think if I had to say I think my favorite has to be the way that you set the landslide up. That was just really, like, once you said, like, the last sentence before the word landslide, I was like, oh god, is he gonna go where you think he's going? Like, I didn't know where you were going until just before you said the word landslide. And then lastly, Nemi. I feel like this is the mission where I got to see her pushed the most that I've ever hosted for her.
I can only think one other mission that pushed her harder to figure shit out. And it was against another frickin' dragon. So.
Oh god. Okay. Apologies. I don't mean to give her
No,
too many...
that one she killed.
I see. Yes.
Nice.
And it was bigger. Crazy.
So first of all, your dynamic kinesthetics with Nemi are amazing. You know exactly how far you can jump, what you can get away with. Your distance gauge, your internal cooldown timers are so on point. Like, cannot say how good those were. The frickin' grapple gun Geisa play. Holy shit, that was amazing. What a sick combo! Those two gear pieces combo so well together. And then your super dynamic combat against all the Hlei Luen was fantastic. Like, figure out when you can tank things, when you shouldn't tank things, setting up, intimidating enemies. Amazingly done. And then on top of all of that, the dramatic scramble at the very end to keep them out of the cleft, gearing up, face tanking the moonbeam. Wow. Just wow. Incredible. And then honestly, the last line, that last line you said, I was like, do I be mean? And when you said that last line, I was like, no, you guys have it. Like, you figured out the in to his psyche. And Nemi drove it home in a way that felt totally believable without feeling like she was hearing stuff she shouldn't have heard. So
I kept in mind to make sure that it was just things that were in the mission briefing.
Yep.
And
Nailed
Nemi
it.
being a regent, being a queen, like what she would say to somebody without having any knowledge from what, either of the other agents had said already.
I thought that was fantastic. So honestly, all you guys played out of your mind. And I gave you a hard one here because I know you're capable of it, but you all rose beautifully, and I sincerely hope you've enjoyed. Thoughts from you guys before we wrap up?
We need a name.
Fuck. Yep.
Yes, very true.
There's
And
that.
my suggestion remains Nemi throws things.
Okay, it's a funny name, but
Yeah.
at the same time, that like diminishes everyone else's stuff, So,
I mean,
I have
Nemi
fought
threw
very
a lot
hard
of
to
things.
make sure. Nemi did throw a lot of things, but
she
this is
didn't
not
throw the
first
mission,
time.
did she? So
Nope.
Exactly. No, Nemi's name has been brought up in mission names before, and so far out of 30 missions, I have kept it out of all mission names.
good. That's a good
So,
unofficial mission name, though.
I like that, but yeah.
All right. Other ideas? What do you think? Okay, let me... Oh, Mal has an interesting one. Agents don't bow to dragons. I have a suggestion for
Ooh.
how to simplify that. Don't bow.
I like it.
Yeah.
Because it's functionally the
That
advice
works,
you
yeah.
gave him as well.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I think that
Love it.
that one works well and fits the intensely defiant nature of the group. Oh, along those lines, Kaeranis and Griselda both desperately need a higher will stat.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Awesome.
Unfortunately, Nemi only has 1 and only 2 points left when she gets to 10. One of them is going into weapons, so.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But yeah, after this mission, Kaeranis, he's got to have the frickin' and Griselda actually really feels like a will tank. Like the way you play her feels like a will tank.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Any other thoughts before we wrap up?
No, this was
Not really.
really sick mission.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
It was great. Yeah.
It was really
Thanks
great
very
to
much for
finally
hosting.
play with you, Reece.
Yes.
Oh
indeed.
yeah. Likewise. Nemi's an amazing character.
She really is. As a final brief note, I set a personal record for myself for this mission. I did not start generating this mission until 2 minutes before we started recording, and I did not take a single note after we started recording.
Nice.
Nice.
And normally that wouldn't be a record because I've done things completely off rip before. But there's one other interesting thing about that. Let me see if I can find it. Where's my frickin' mission page? Here it is. I took actually quite a few notes. So it was a fast one.
Nice.
It came very quickly. Once I got, I was like, oh, this is a Gwendrell mission. I was like, okay, I got it. I know the mission.
Perfect.
Well, I have given up trying to write notes while hosting, but since I was just a player here, I wrote 1,188 words of notes.
Holy shit. That's incredible, Reece. Truly incredible.
Beautiful.
I had some notes,
Yeah,
but
you got some
not
notes.
that.
Nicely done.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys
Scribbles, but
Hot damn. That is seasoned Enclave veteran play in action right there. And
helps.
with that, let's do our sign-offs. We'll go Kadrien, Connor, Reece. Say your final words, we'll wrap it up.
Cool.
I've been Kadrien playing Nemi. This was an amazing Conduit reward mission, and I was very happy that it was finally done.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And
I've been Connor playing Kaeranis. Fantastic mission. Play Enclave.
and Leslie.
And I've been Reece, playing Griselda. Had a great time, and hope you enjoyed listening to this. See
And-
you all soon.
As always, my name is Robbie Howell, and ciao for now.